What the fuck is up, everybody?
This out of the park, moving so quick it's like they stuck in park. They see the numbers, but I see the heart. 10,000 hours you spit in the dark, putting in good work, even though you didn't even know that it would work. Talking about a man who grew up in woodwork, do it for the love of it, that's the way it should work. Yeah, yeah. I know some people gon' look at me crazy, and I'm like, for what? Man, I was stuck, I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah. It's all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up, 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 up. I was down, but now I'm down. Now I'm up like a seesaw. When I'm on a beat like an old man's lawn, better keep off. From the ground to the treetops, got clouds on my feet like Jack in the Beanstalk. Jumped off quick, went straight in a free fall. Cowboy hat and a mic singing yeehaw. Landed on my feet like a feline. Put him back in the seat like a recline. Ay, what you mean I'm not worthy? Did it with a purpose, didn't need a permit. Digging from the bottom and I brought it to the surface. Mind your business now, who I worship. Who the little guy making big, big, big moves. Tick tock, turn it to a tick, 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 boom. Yeah, I talk a lot of stuff. Probably thought it was a bluff till I went and turned it where I was down, but now I'm up, up. Let's go. Yeah. It's all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, yeah, I was down, but now I'm up, 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 up. I was down, but now I'm up. I was down, but now I'm up. Yeah, this all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Whoa. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up, 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 up. I was down, but now I'm up.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up, gang? What's up, everybody? What up, what up, what up? How are you? How are you? How are you? We trade in no more evaluations. We're trading live accounts. We're trading live funded accounts. So this is my 150K account. And then I'll be switching off back and forth between the 50K and the 150K. But I want to make progress on this 150K because these numbers look nice. You have a laptop for work?
No. Well, yeah, I use it for work too because like we get super busy. I sit at random spots with the customer, so I don't have to like sit in my office. And it's convenient.
My cousin sold a Hummer today to a trader,
Former trader.
a former trader.
She got out in 2001. She said she got out.
Oh, so she got out in 2001. So
When
she
it
was
booming.
So she
Like,
was
right before.
So she was a pencil and paper
Yeah,
trader.
yeah.
She was a savage trader.
She was a penny stock trader too. She started off as a penny stock trader, and she said she at that time she had made like 80,000 in like 8 months, which was savage. And then she went to a hedge fund. Like, she literally said like it was kind of like, what's that Will Smith movie? Fuck.
The one where his kid and him are homeless.
Yeah.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
The Pursuit of Happiness. Yeah, she said it was kind of like that. She said she wasn't poor like that, but that she walked into the building and she's like, I want to trade. I did penny stocks. They laughed in her face. A guy looked at her and said, I'll give you a shot. And she ended up making like $350,000 in her first year.
Holy shit.
Stupid. Cool ass lady too. Imagine she retired at 55 and just cause. That's how much she had. How much money she either already had or had to have been making.
Holy shit. All right, gang. Let's get this analysis going. I'm kind of nervous. Today the markets have been a little choppy. I saw some major drawdown today. Look, I'm about to send him the link to the Zoom and the YouTube. They flushed it. I'm gonna swing. I have no choice. All right. Damn, I'm burping like a motherfucker. Spark that shit. So, let's look at the monthly, right? We're halfway through this monthly candle. We don't have any range here to the downside on this monthly candle. We barely have any bottom wicks here. So we're on a bearish trend on the monthly, and we instantly reversed as soon as we closed starting January. Very interesting how the anticipation of Trump being president caused such an uproar and bullish volume here on gold and on the dollar, right? The dollar literally reversed this entire month and has been completely bullish, and so has gold. This entire month, gold has been bullish along with the dollar, which is wild. Indices have been bearish. So gold and the dollar are on the rise simultaneously. So let's see what kind of support we're forming here on the weekly. So on this weekly time frame, it looks like we have actually respected support and created a higher low. Could this be the start of 3,000 on gold? Like, imagine if this week starts coming up here and we flip bullish, that'd be such a clean flip bullish after closing above the most recent range. We closed above this most recent resistance here. We only have this little area in our way, but that's after the wick fill. Yeah, right option. That's what it's looking like on the higher time frame. Like, if this week flips bullish here, right, we have a beautiful wick fill to take advantage of, and then we have another beautiful little push before the nearest weekly resistance. So we have some beautiful range once we start breaking these highs, almost 300 pips of range. So this is looking pretty clean. So let's go down to our daily, right? We just have a lot of resistance here. So these levels are super strong. But we have range before we get up there. We have a lot of range before we get up there. So let me start marking up the most recent daily levels and the most daily resistances. And what up, what up, what up? Boom, boom, boom. So this is an interesting level here. This level coincided with this level here. All right, all right, all right. So these are all my very strong daily levels, right? So where could our daily bottom wick here be? Where could our potential daily bottom wick be? So we could have a daily bottom wick right where we're at now. That could be a potential bottom wick, right? This area right here is the first pullback support created on this drive up. So I always like to mark these little areas here, and then we know that that area is valid because price decided to respect this area to support and drive up off this level. So we could see something similar happen off this level, right? Or price could come down a little bit lower and retest this low here, which coincides with these wicks down here with this support over here. So these are some very strong levels that I could be looking to take buys off of. These are some strong levels that look very good. So we've already jumped, we've already See, look, this little support that was formed here, resistance, and then like order block, whatever you want to call this, I don't know. Whatever you want to call that, I think that's important. That's the first resistance that it broke after breaking out of the most recent resistance. So I like to mark these levels off. And what did price do? Price failed to break below. We grabbed liquidity underneath and we started driving up. So this was a beautiful buy earlier today. I don't know if any of you guys took this entry here, right? So this little push right here was really clean. This push on the 4-hour was really clean right here. So we start looking deeper into the hourly and let's see what we can start doing. Let's see what can price start doing, right? So it looks like we have already rejected once off of these levels here, right? We've come up, we've rejected, and now we've closed above this level here. We have broken nicely into clean traffic. So now that we have broken into clean traffic, the only kind of minor level that we gotta worry about is this hourly level here. That price was resistance, that price turned support. So price used that as a resistance level here, and it could very well turn it into another resistance here and continue coming down. So I gotta be very careful with this area here just to make sure that this wasn't a fake out liquidity grab here before coming down to retest the lows or to create a steeper bottom wick. So I'm gonna be eyeing this area here for a breakout back to the upside to take some bias to fill this whatever this shit is. If we can form some kind of support here and start breaking back above these levels here, I will start looking for buys above. But it is very interesting if we can create if we can respect this as a strong daily support, right, and start flipping bullish, then I do feel like this is the lowest it's gonna go for a long time until it hits 3,000. I mean, it just looks like it's so cleanly on the weekly. The monthly started forming some support, so we're literally turning around as Trump is coming in office. It's crazy to see that turnaround. How are you guys? Have you guys taken anything today? Let's look at the Nasdaq to see what the Nasdaq is doing. So the Nasdaq has rejected this area. So this is what I like to do in the Nasdaq, right? Last time price rejected this area, we plummeted so fucking far down. This shit just plummeted 800 pips in 5 minutes. 800 pips in 5 minutes. Right? If you catch the top on the Nasdaq, you're sitting in money. If you have balls to hold, you're sitting in money. You're sitting in money. Money. Now, right? Look at this level across the board. Once the Nasdaq formed some sort of resistance here, we rejected and we never came back up. Once Nasdaq confirmed resistance here, we rejected and we never came back up. Now that we've confirmed resistance here, we've rejected, but we're consolidating. The price action is different. The following price action is very different compared to what happened at these levels over here. You see what I'm saying? Um, so in order to confirm, I want price to start breaking these lows, get a push, a pullback, and then a re-break of the low. So I'm going to be setting an alarm for the re-break of these lows here. Back to gold. That's my alarm. All right, Goldie, you're starting to show some sort of bullish push off of here. Nice, nice, nice. This 30-minute is giving us a nice money printer play here. But the 15 is ugly. I don't like that. Let's see what we get here. Let's see what we get here. Damn, that's nice, bro. Look at he got a Land Rover. I was thinking of getting back into drones. I put my iPad on my fucking credit card. Once I finish paying that shit off, I'm going to get a drone. $249. They're micro FPV racing drones. Look at this. Shit's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It can fly in up to 20-mile-an-hour winds, and I can go up to a quarter mile on the distance. The stock controller is shitty, but I need to upgrade the controller to something better. Once I upgrade the controller, I can fly the drone for up to a quarter mile on the FPV goggles. Put it on, and it'll look like I'm fucking flying. And it's the mini racing run, so it goes really fast, and it's mini, so I can fly it inside the house when I put the bumpers on.
Alright.
I didn't get anything because I was sleeping right after New York session. You snapped. What time is it for you? The smoke got me. I got bronchitis. Do you guys hear the siren?
I'll be out here in the slums.
Yeah. Somebody got shot 2 blocks down the street from me. It's funny because 2 blocks to my left is a Lamborghini dealership. 2 blocks to my right is the ghetto. Tell me how that works. 2 blocks more to my left, there's a Maserati dealership. But if you keep walking down to my right, there's a little bit of a more sketchy area. That's crazy. Yeah, somebody got shot. It looks like it. They had yellow tape and a bunch of cops, and they weren't letting people in. Either somebody got shot or somebody OD'd.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that in Florida, bro. No matter where you go, you're always a walking distance from a crackhead about to fucking stab you. That shit needs to be fixed. I stayed in downtown Miami, supposedly in the best part, fucking high-rise condo, beautiful view of the intercoastal. And they're like, you can park on this street and this street, but don't park a few more blocks down. Your car will get robbed.
Damn, some serious shit.
But we stayed in Midtown, where it's like resort style condos.
Who was this?
Midtown in Miami, like a quarter mile away from Brickell.
When was this?
Like a couple years ago. And bro, literally my cousin was like, "Oh yeah, you were just close to a crack house. You were so close to a crack house. I don't know how you didn't see it driving in." Because, and I'm like, dude, this is like a resort style fucking whole condominium type shit where the middle you look down the balcony and then you see the corridor where it looks like you're at a like an all-inclusive resort where there's people walking up and down and like LED lights, and then there's like a middle courtyard where it looks all fancy, and in reality you're a mile away from the ghetto.
All of Miami's away from the ghetto.
Eddie, check the phone. Don't tell me what to do, bro. From a four hour perspective, broke a 4 hour consolidation area coming back down to retest the area, and I think there's more possible to go bullish afterwards.
No.
Look at that testing the trend line on the motherfucking weekly. Look at that test, the breakout and the retest, man. When price action is clear, price action is clear. What if I just press buy right now and just wing it all the way to the top? But that's not how you trade. I would have to have a weekly fucking stop loss. So I look at the weekly and I'm like, alright, let's trade on the weekly. For me to have a weekly buy here, I would have to have a stop loss on the weekly low, which would be only 180 pips. That's not bad. Alright, guys. What if I started trading like this? Some people trade like that too, bro. Some people trade like this. With their candles like this. And they're like, alright, price is tapping 2690.3. Once we tap 2690.80, I want a reversal up to 2689.2, and then we're gonna get a reversal back down to our target of 2686.6, and then we're gonna, I don't understand, bro. What's my target? This box right here. Where am I gonna enter? If this box does this and then does that. Simplify it, bro. Simplify it, bro. Don't complicate yourself with hardcore terminology. How was your day, Jay? I know you had a little bit of a rough morning.
Yeah, hey, I ended up being about 140 pips in profit for the day. I was looking at stopping, and then I took the trade with Wix, and I ended up closing at a loss that ended up wiping out my profits for the day. Ended up being below B for the day, and then scalped my way back, and ended up I think it was 26 pips in profit. So all in all, profitable day, and it's the same thing that happened to me yesterday as well.
That
Yeah.
that's normal, bro. That for sure happens. One thing that in the last 3 weeks or last, what day is today? The 14th. I got 4 more days to have an entire profitable 30 days of trading, except for one day where I lost 40 pips, and that day is a similar situation to what happened with Wix, and I entered too many pineapples too early. If I would have followed my plan and not been a little greedy on that one, I would have I would have been out perfectly fine. Um, just taking the exact same setups, bro. Exact same. Like I know Wix trades like in a lot of different ranges and a lot of different areas. Um, Sometimes he'll be trading, a push to the downside here, or he'll be like somewhere in this push up here, or like today I think he was in a sell when price started pushing down somewhere off of this area. So he enters in like a bunch of different areas, but I've been just sticking to one setup, one entry type, and just like one or two setups for the exact same thing over and over and over again. And if I don't see it and I've had a profitable day, then I'm like, all right, cool, I'm out, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, I mean that would definitely be the idea when you're in the heat of it, and then you see the signal, and you see another selling. You're like, okay, wait, am I missing something? What does he see now? I'm not seeing. Also, he's looking at futures instead of Forex. So, you're like, okay, let me go with the mentor. Make sure we're on the same page, and then he ends up closing in profit, and you're like, oh man, I never got to give you a profit. And then we talked about it today. Yeah, we talked about it today, and then it ended up being his spread. You guys on futures have a spread of one. I have a spread of 2 to 3 pips, depending on how high it is. Sometimes it goes to 1.5. But then that obviously with 8 to 10 positions, it makes it a little more difficult to get back into that profit. So it's on me, obviously, to manage my risk accordingly. Has nothing to do with him. But maybe I might start changing where I take my pineapples and look at maybe 30 to 40 pips or something like that.
Yeah, so like,
Drawdown.
yeah, I'm 100%, 1,000, 3,000% in the same boat as you. Like I completely understand what you're talking about because the same thing would happen to me where I would take a signal and then like he would be closing in profit and I would be late and it would be because where he entered and where I entered are off by 2 seconds. So I am, let's say, 2 pips above his entry, and then price close jumps up, right, puts him in profit, he closes, but by the time that the 1 second delay hits me, in reality for me it's only like 4 pips. So I'm like, oh, let me wait for another little pop, and then price, that was the pop, and then price reverses on me instantly when it could have fuck, I lost my train of thought. Price reverses when I should have just closed because he closed, right? Because our prices were different and our entries were a little bit different. So what I do is I usually don't take his signals anymore, or anybody's signal anymore. But when I did, I gave myself a stop loss, and I said, all right, you really have to be in tune with the way he trades though, right? Because how often do the trades go into that deep of drawdown before he comes out in profit or takes a loss? The last time a trade went this deep into drawdown, I think was the day where he took the loss or he had to close. But like the last drawdown trade, I don't think it went this deep into drawdown.
No, much earlier than that.
So like
a couple of weeks ago, he had 7 or 6 pineapples.
So
16 positions.
So like
twice in January.
Right, so like what I do, I'm like, all right, cool. Where was his first entry and where was his last pineapple? And I measure, and I'm like, all right, cool. It was like 63 pips, in total of drawdown, but he had like 6 entries within these 63 pips, which is how it happened today. I think he was like 70 pips in drawdown in total or something like that, across all the positions. So I'm like, all right, cool. If I were to just take like a 50 pip loss, that gives me 20 pips usually of not being in drawdown, where I can then stack at the top and then hold the position down to my original entry at the bottom, or until I'm actually in profit. So I've been cutting my losses short, and then understanding that, all right, cool, if this is one of those signals where the trade is going to go super deep into drawdown, I know that I'm going to have better opportunities for pineapples in the future. So let me close this trade out. If it closes in a loss, cool, I lost 50 pips. Not a big deal. I'd rather lose 50 pips than be 300 pips and draw down 8 pineapples deep. So what I'll do is I'll wait, and if price, like today was a good example, price did actually come up really, really high, then I would have maybe stacked 3 pineapples at the top there. So then on that push down, where Wix closed at break even or 10 pips in profit, you would have closed at like 50 pips loss, but then you would have had a much better entry and you would have avoided an extra 30 pips of drawdown. So in reality, you would have been up an extra 30 pips that you wouldn't have had in drawdown. So that's something that I did being in futures and not being able to hold that much drawdown because of the trailing drawdown. Because if I hold 100 pips of drawdown, even with the smallest lot size, I'm still gonna be negative like 1/4% on the smaller account. So I've been just taking the small loss and then stacking at a higher position. Um, that's
So you
basically.
take a pineapple, you'll travel the pineapple to stack there, or you'll look at just doing a pineapple at a higher area than what would have done.
So I'll throw my analysis into the mix at the same time, right? So if he's like, all right, I'm gonna take an extra pineapple here, and then I look and I'm like, well, this trade still looks very good, like it's gonna come down and pop down into my entry. I might not take that first early pineapple. I might say, okay, I'm gonna give it another shot because this still looks like it has a chance of pushing down, right? And if he takes a pineapple here and he closes at 10 pips before that first entry, that still gives us enough time to push down and break through for the original idea. So I'll kind of wait a little bit and say, okay, cool. If we hit the first pineapple area and that didn't cause price to reverse to our entry, worst case I can close break even instead of closing in profit, but I won't take that first pineapple. I'll wait and see if price is giving us an early pineapple already, maybe that's just a small drawdown before that push. But then if price keeps pushing up, going for that second pineapple, then maybe I'll take the second pineapple and have a much better average instead of, he'll have two entries close to the bottom here, and then I'll have one entry here and then one entry up here. So
Yeah,
that's how I've been playing it out.
Okay.
Unless the only way you could really copy him is if you just lower your lot size completely and just go one for one, one for one, one for one. But like holding that much drawdown, depending on your lot size, you might have to switch up how you manage his trades. So what I did was I just took an earlier loss and then stacked at a higher position, understanding that the higher probability trade was probably closer to resistance, and stacking up here with a smaller stop loss will result in the same overall loss, but a much higher probability of me catching that push down and not being in this much drawdown. So I could have closed here, saved this much drawdown, and then entered here. So by the time that I'm down here, instead of being 10 pips in profit, I'm an extra 20 because I don't have this drawdown because I closed down here.
I agree with you 100%, and I was thinking about that because I could be drawdown 40K, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna get margined out at some point because I'm over leveraging when uh, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16 positions in, and it just doesn't make sense at some point for me to do that once I'm gonna get margined out. So I think I might have to do that and look at where the strategic pineapple would be for me to take instead of going at it at maybe 10 or 15 pips, going it at 30 or 40 pips, giving myself that extra setup to protect myself just in case. And then if it is at 10 pips and it comes back down and we close it in profit, I might just wait a little bit to see if it gets to my break even, and I might just even close out a loss 5 pips or something. Then that's even that's something that's still acceptable to me.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
The next possibilities of other trades occurring. So when I did close, he did close today a lot earlier. I tried to close a little bit after that, and then I lost quite a bit because I was in so many positions. That's what wiped out my entire profit. And I closed while the candle was bullish, and then it ended up going up another 40, 50 pips or something. But I closed obviously better because I would not have been able to go into drawdown a lot more than that. I would have been way past my mind. I'm trying to look at my position here, where I had closed, and yeah, I would have been way off because I would have been with 60 pips at 10 positions. That's way too much for me to do to over leverage. So obviously, I'm playing more positions than one. I trade like him. I have two positions per trade, and I trade high, but obviously I don't have a million accounts, so I'll hit my margin obviously a lot faster than he would have. So yeah. I have to be a lot more aware about where I take my time.
Yeah, that's an issue I had copy trading, especially because I get free signals from Don, and and sometimes I'm like, it was just a little stressful copy trading. And then so like I got to the point where I'm like, all right, cool. Don took a trade. Let me see where he entered and why he entered. Okay, cool. Don entered a sell here. Huh. Why did he enter a sell here if price is bullish? And then I started looking to the left. I'm like, all right, cool. I start seeing some levels here. I start seeing some levels here. And I start looking to see, all right, do I see a sell setup here? Oh, I kind of do see a sell setup. Let me see what he's looking at. Then I start going to the higher time frame, the hourly, the 4 hour, and I'm like, okay, maybe I kind of see what he's looking at here. And then I'm like, all right, cool. Don is looking for sells when he sees these things start to happen. And then the more that I looked at his entries and his exits, the more I start to see, oh, this man is trading off the fucking 1 minute, because I'm looking at the 1 minute and the 1 minute just made a low at this previous high, and he took a bunch of buys right here and closed right here at the top, waited for price to come back again, retest this area, took a bunch of buys, and then it broke to the upside again. So like I'm looking at him enter, and then I'm looking at the chart play out and seeing, oh, this guy is following the fucking 1 minute. He's just following market structure. And then I can start saying, all right, how can I incorporate that into how I trade? And I learned 100% from Don and from Wix, but from what they've taught me, I've developed it into how I understand how it works. And we don't take 100% of the same trades, but I would say like 70% of the time we're in the same trade.
Yeah, I mean,
I've been
he is trading a little differently now than he was before, obviously, and he is incorporating his new strategy that he started taking on. But yeah, I was taking his signals for 6 months, and I started, obviously feeling the pressure with the losses that he had taken for those 2-3 months. I lost quite a bit of money, but I'm not gonna blame him. Because it's my own money. I have to be wary of what I'm doing and take responsibility. I have to either take the trade or not, and then obviously look at what I'm doing. Well, should I take the position or not? Like you obviously have to think, well,
Yeah,
does this make sense or not?
right.
If I'm
Yeah.
looking back on my own trades, then it's on me, and I can't just be looking at saying, okay, let me just copy. They're making money, I'll make money. Gotta change. So,
Yeah, it's a big that happened to me a lot too. Like I had almost $1 million in funding towards the middle of the year, and I was like, all right,
nice.
cool. If I take my own trades and then I copy Wix's trades and I copy Don's trades, there's no fucking way I don't get a payout in 8 days across all of these accounts. I'm gonna get a fucking $30,000 payout in 8 days, and I was like, all right, bet. And then what happened? That was the day
August 29th,
that Don lost
a little bit.
hold on, these cells might be looking good here.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I saw the hourly.
It's 30-minute previous 30 up, but it filled the whole wick up already.
That's what I was looking at, and it had refilled it on the hour when it opened. Now it's coming back up. So
I'm gonna attempt a sell stop here, and I'm gonna put it a little lower.
let's talk a little bit.
This level is how many pips to here? 9 pips only to there. I don't like this area.
What's up? What's up?
How are you? But basically, bro, I lost 2 of the funded accounts that day, and then I was like, all right, cool, no worries. I have a couple of 50Ks left, and then I was like, all right, since I missed out on this much profit, let me double down on these 50Ks, and there's no way Don or Wix is gonna take a loss now after this. I think Wix took a loss right after, and for him it wasn't bad. For him, I think it was like 300 pips or something like that. But for me, I risked the whole fucking account on that, thinking, nah, this is the trade that's gonna put me halfway to the buffer, and then I can grind a little bit later. This might activate me. And I can activate the... Oh yeah, we got activated there. That allowed. These prices moving and it's not even showing me any profit.
And with me, I was in a position that I came up breaking in. Kind of wild. Forex is kind of wild with the spread sometimes.
You got to be very wary here because this could have been very well been the low, right? So, but the setup is happening here. We started closing below. These are higher time frame closures, so give it a little bit of time here. We don't have much range here till the where price opened. What's it look like on XAU? XAU is kind of at a support here. If it was on XAU, I would have waited a little bit lower. I don't have that on my end. On my end is a little bit lower. Let's see what happens here. But yeah, bro, it was like me and Market Mechanic, we were talking a lot, and he was like, so if you're learning from them and you're taking the concepts they're teaching you and you're trying to develop your own understanding and your own strategy, then you should stop taking their trades and take your own trades only and track your trades and try to see if you're able to formulate what they taught you in your own way and see if you can put it together in the same way, right? This 15 close, what did it do? Kind of no top wick on the 15. I don't like that. I'm gonna close break even here. I'm not fucking around with that. How much? $5 in commission? You're gay. I don't like that no top wick here. I might have been a little paranoid there, but I'm gonna, yeah, I might have been a little paranoid there. I mean, it still looks good on the 5-minute here. I mean, this might have been a steeper top wick on XAU.
Yeah.
It is a steeper top wick on XAU, so it might drive here, but I'm feeling a little iffy about this area.
So yeah, when I did, I lost. I can't say I lost the digit. It was my own capital, but I mean, it's on me.
Yeah, bro, it's
I was thinking the same thing. Oh, they're not gonna lose 2 in a row. It's not gonna be possible. You know, when there was a win, everybody was excited. It was a loss. I stopped, and there was the hype every time, and we were like, "Hey, what the hell was happening?" And obviously, he explained everything after that, but I never thought that was anything weird. That was bought or anything like that. I was in the chat telling people to go out and tell something nothing to do with it because the guy exactly know what this is kind of well for everything. And so I never ever thought that it was done on purpose or anything like that. So people that go away if they were happy.
Yeah, I don't think it was on purpose either. If he wanted to scam people, he would have just taken a bunch of prop firm deals and broker deals, and he would have been making $250,000 a month promoting brokers. Instead of taking like $1 million, and then after you split the $1 million with the broker and then pay taxes, you have $250,000. Why would he ruin his reputation for something he could have made in a week promoting prop firms and brokers? If he really wanted to sell out,
it didn't make sense to me that it would have been, streaming for 3 years, being accountable to everybody and himself, doing what he did, getting to the million, and then making more. But then in one day, blow everything while he had the man. It didn't make any sense. It must have been just a crazy day where, he was just off his game, and then that happened. Obviously, it was a tough loss, because it ended up being a couple losses after that as well for a couple of months. So that's when you have to obviously tell yourself, nobody's perfect. You gotta make sure that you're taking growth rates to as much as you can. You have to re-add and re-upload and get into it the best way possible. Obviously, you make mistakes sometimes. I make mistakes all the time, but it's about trying to get back to where you were, as to what your strategy was. And I'm comfortable now, and I'm less annoyed at myself. Still annoyed, but I'm less annoyed at myself when I lose massive profits in a day. But I end up being in profit for the day. You make 500 in a day, you feel great. You're at 4,000 or 10,000 in a day, and you lose that, you're annoyed. But it's still profit. So 500 a day, you got 20 days of trading. That's 10K. That's 120K a year. Not many people make 120K a year. If you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I'm just playing with this and that. It has nothing to do with the amount of money that you're playing, other than the mindset as well. So finish the day on a positive note, on a profit. Bro, next trade that you take, next day that you're gonna take your position, you feel good. You're like, oh yeah, yesterday I made some money. I made $100, I made $50, I made $500. All right, let's keep doing this. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. And that's what helps. And look at the position where you close it, perfect rejection.
Yeah, but it's like for example, one good thing is writing down how I'm feeling after taking these wins. Like their New York session yesterday I made 30 pips, and then Asian I made 18. So for the day it was 48 pips. So then I'm like, damn, I only made 18 pips this Asian session. But then I look back at my calendar and I'm like, oh, but I made 30 New York session. So that's 48 pips for the day. And then I start calculating. I'm like, cool, 48 pips times this many lot size times this many accounts. Like, damn, that's a $300 day. I don't need any more than that. Like, I need to just chill the fuck out. Like, I'm over here thinking that's nothing, looking over here at this and that. But then when I calculate and I'm like, no. Let me just wait. The payout this quarter, or the percentage increase at the end of the quarter, is what's going to be important, not how much it is today. So like, I'm trying to zoom out. Like the evaluation challenge, I was taking it slow. I wasn't gambling or anything, and I was taking it slow, and I took like a 150 pip loss, and I over risked on that trade, completely over risked, over pineappled on that trade, and I took a 150 pip loss. I'm like, wow, I just took a massive fucking loss against my plan after being so perfect for this fucking long, just because I didn't want to lose. When all I had to do was just say, all right, cool, I have a monetary amount that I can lose, right? Let me wait for the proper pineapples. I don't have the margin to pineapple at every level, right? Let me pineapple at the right proper levels. I waited. I finally, once I closed that trade out in a loss, because I couldn't hold any more margin. I couldn't hold any more, because if not, I was going to hit my daily max loss and I was going to breach the account. So I had to close, and the minute candle after drove putting 5 of the 7 positions in profit in 1 minute. But I couldn't hold another spike down. That would have wicked me out. I couldn't hold another spike down. So it's like situations like that where I'm like, wow, I was right the whole time, but I got greedy too fast and too paranoid too fast and pineapple too early. And to try to get out of the trade in profit to keep the win streak, I was thinking too much of the win streak and not of the candles. So like whenever Wix calls out a signal or Don calls out a signal, I give it a second. And I'm like, all right, let me look at this and see. Do I see my entry that I've been taking for the last 2.5 months nonstop? Same entry. I haven't deviated from the entry type. And if I see it, all right, cool. That's something that I can possibly take. But if I see that it's something that I'm like, oh, why are we selling into kind of like a support here? This is kind of strong. Maybe this is just one of those where it pops a quick 10 pips and he gets out really fast. I might not be able to get in that one. Let me not get in that trade. But then if I see it's a trade where I'm like, oh wow, this thing can push. It looks like it has a lot of potential. It looks like my setup. It looks like really good. Then I'll possibly take the same trade as him. Or sometimes he'll market execute a trade and it'll be this same exact setup, right? But instead of having the sell stop at the low, he would have market executed at this top wick. So he would have been out 10 pips in profit, and I still would have been waiting for my stop, for my sell stop to be activated because I'm waiting for my push. So he closes at that 10 pips. It breaks the low. I get my 10 pips. We both caught a W on the trade. I just understood that the higher probability is once we break the low. Taking the wick entry here, he's taking the wick entry and understanding that there's a high probability of drawdown, and he would be and it's reasonable to take pineapples doing so because he knows for a fact, not for a fact, but he knows there's a high probability that price is going to come down to at least this area and retest the low. So even if it gives you instant drawdown, he knows eventually price is going to make its way down to at least this level. So that's why he takes these wick entries, knowing that price is going to at least come down to retest the low before flipping bullish. Price doesn't just flip bullish off the daily low off of one candle. It's going to do it for a second time, or it's going to retest that low before coming up. So he would have taken a wick entry up here. That's like what you kind of have to look at. That's why I listen to the signals and then I look to see if they coincide with my own analysis and my own understanding. Because if they don't, then I can't take it.
Yeah, Rick talked about it today as well, and mentioned it in the newer session that he was kind of yelling at people. Why didn't you close? Oh, with your ego. It is the ego in the end. The greed obviously is the main reason because we do this for money, but it is the ego as well in the end, thinking that you can do better than what it is or look at something that's different or whatever it is, and that ends up screwing a lot of people over. And that's what screwed me today from all the profits I had. I could have closed minus 30 pips in that trade and still be up 110 pips for the day, but I wiped out 146 pips. I mean, that's just stupid. That was my ego, obviously. Because all I needed was 5-6 pips more, and then I'd be at the E at least close there. But you got to learn. So I know that myself. Obviously, I took all his pineapples, which put me in massive drawdown at some point because I use a lot much higher than his that he now has the different account. But that's on me. I gotta be accountable to myself.
Yeah, it's
And,
like
it's not. I know Turpy was feeling the pressure for the last couple of weeks as well, and I think he's just been in a funk overtrading. I don't try to overtrade. I'm not in trades at 2 p.m. or anything like that unless there's FOMC. When the New York session is over, I'll maybe look again at 1 p.m. if we might get a signal. Other than that, I'm done. I gotta relax, and I still see people in the chat saying, "Oh, let's take a sell here. Or can we do that there?" And I'm like, damn.
yeah.
Why are people still trading?
What?
It's volume is usually dead until maybe the power hour, but by then, man, your brain must be so tired. And I'm exhausted, obviously, because I have to sleep during the daytime before Asian session because I'm on a different time zone, and I'm 5 hours ahead. So I'm like, man, I could not do that. I would just be wiped out mentally.
Yeah,
And
I agree,
it
bro.
fucks with you in the end.
It comes down to like like I posted this the other day where I passed 150k apex on stream. I passed another 50k apex top step on stream and 150k apex. Not all the trades were taken on stream, but for the last 2 months I've been trading only those accounts on stream, and I've passed all of those accounts slowly, steadily, and just not being emotional about it. And then what I out of my journey through that and being this disciplined and coming out of this win streak is saying that if I'm not emotional, I win. And that is literally it. Trading is easy. Managing emotions is hard. The learning the candlesticks and trading the candles is the easy part. If I leave my emotions at the door, I realized the majority of my trades gave me either a break-even point, gave me an out, gave me a proper pineapple, was in profit and I didn't close. So the majority of my trades gave me an opportunity to get out of the market without taking a loss or in profit. The majority. So you also have to look back at your history and your track record. So I'm like, so what's stopping me from closing these trades out in profit or at break even? And it's my ego saying, oh, like sometimes I fall to it. Like still, like earlier today, I went into a deep drawdown trade because I was 17 pips in profit and I didn't feel like going break even. I was like, no, I'll give it a little bit more push. It's pushing hard. Instead of just going break even, we passed my break even point. I kind of let it go a little bit too long and I had to pineapple out of the trade. And that's another scenario where I was right. I could have closed for 17 pips and fucking called it, but instead I had to take 3 pineapples to get out of the trade. I closed for 5 pips in profit across 3 trades, so it still gave me the 15 pips, but after commissions across all the entries, it came out to like 9 pips. So I'm like, and spreads, it came out to like 9 pips. So I'm like, all this work when I could have just closed for more money at the top. So like it comes down to like your emotions stopping you from making the proper trading decision, the proper risk management decision when you're like, damn, this I don't like this trade that Wix is in. But he's my mentor. He's the one that taught me all these things, but there's something about it that I don't like. Let me stay out. If anything, I'll wait for him to go deep in drawdown and then I'll take an entry and then hold until his first entry and catch like 50 pips while he catches 10. You know, sometimes when I was still taking signals, I would do that. Yo, Alfredo, here for my doorbell. My new AirPods are 10 stops away. Cuban guy, he's delivering it in his personal car. Oh yeah, my AirPods broke, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna buy a new pair. And then I went online, and I'm like, oh, but there's a good deal going on, and then I just bust them. And then I paid for an extra $10, and they delivered it in a few hours. I ordered it 2 hours ago, and it's coming now. That's awesome.
I mean, when you look at positions, you got to obviously understand where you're going to get in. That's why when he does look at possible positions that he's going to take, he says, hey, this is a possible pineapple. Here's my white line. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. And as the trade goes into drawdown, he keeps looking at more. Not many people do that. You know, they'll look at a couple of things, but once you're in drawdown, 30, 40 pips, and then you're on multiple positions, it's no longer 30, 40 pips. You know, it goes to 50, 60, 70, 80, and it goes into drawdown a lot faster than you expect it to. So a lot of people don't take that into consideration. I didn't before, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, now that I've been trading for a lot longer, I have to look into that. And I got to just be more aware of what I'm comfortable with as a drawdown. Take the position. It is easier if you do it with that emotion, but that's not human nature. It's much more difficult when it applies. So, you know, I mean, I think Jonathan's writing here, somebody only takes his pineapples, for example, but he doesn't even take the first position. So he would obviously be in profit by the time, you know, everybody's about to close. He's in much, much bigger profit in that case.
Yeah, and
the thing is, not every position, not every trade is going to have a pineapple.
But
and
like,
not every trade is going to have, you know, 6 or 7 pineapples either.
And at the same time, like, for example, if you know that the majority of so that's why you also have to like write down keep a track record of his trades. So like I know that by the time that Wix is 3 to 4 pineapples deep, right, the probability of that trade going deeper is higher. So if I'm copying his trades and this is my 3rd pineapple already, I'm gonna set my own stop loss to avoid having to take a 4th, right? Even if this trade hits my stop loss and then reverses for the entire thing and Wix comes out in profit, I would take that 50 pip loss, that 70 pip loss easily, because even if you're copying every other trade to the T, you're still coming out 50, 60 pips in profit for the day. So even if you lose 50 pips on that 4th or 5th pineapple kind of trade, or even 60 or 70 pips or 100, you know that within the next day of copying the same trades, you're going to be up and make your profit back regardless. So you could say, all right, cool. I see him usually go into like 50 pips of drawdown before it goes into profit. So I'm going to set my stop loss at like 60 pips. And if it's one of those trades where it goes steeper than that, cool. I'm going to get stopped out. I know that at the end of the day, he usually makes 40 to 50 pips in a day. So I'm going to make back this 70 pip loss in a day and a half, no problem. So like,
I mean, you're stuck because you're you're using prop firms, so you have that daily loss as well that limits you, which is the accountability in a sense. So you have no choice sometimes but to either close or lose the account. And
Yep.
you know, not many people have hundreds of thousands of dollars to just roll accounts left and right. So when I use my own money, it's a little different because I'm not limited by the daily loss. I'm limited by the margin, and that's a little different. So I have to really force myself to make sure I take the right position. So I'm going to be obviously looking into that a lot more than every position and looking at maybe pineappling every 30 or 40 pips in drawdown and waiting for it to come back into profit or BE if he closes at that stage. Because I could still be, you know, a loss of 10 pips. It's fine even if he closes at profit and I'm not even at BE and I'll be at 10 pips in drawdown or at a loss. It's fine because I can still take the next position and then make my money back that way. You know, and that's absolutely fine. I think I might have to do that for risk management in the future because that's the only way I think I can grow the account. My goal is to grow to $500,000 this year. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but it is a goal. 350 at
My
least.
double ring.
And, you know, I agree with Rich. March, April, May is going to be absolutely insane now that Trump is going back into power. You know, markets are going to be flying, so there's going to be trends that we're going to be taking when news comes out. Hopefully the Feds don't keep lying about that and then, you know, ranging after we have a news or it rejects completely and wiping everybody's profits out. I mean, massive market manipulation everywhere. And it's annoying when they give you the numbers and then a few months later, like, oh, I'm sorry, we have to revise that. We were off by 500,000 or 3%, right on the line. You're like, what the hell? Like, this is absolute BS. And today, for example, the numbers were bad. Sorry, the numbers were good or bad? I think the numbers were bad for PPI, right? Here we go. Yeah, the numbers were bad for PPI. If the numbers were bad for the dollar, how was US 30 pumping? And I mean pumping, it pumped up like 300 points.
Yeah,
right?
the Nasdaq
How is
pumped
that
up like fucking crazy too.
How is that possible? How is that possible? This is PPI. This is not FOMC where everything is going to move in the same direction. I understand why gold went up. I don't understand why I rejected and came all the way back down. But how in the hell is US 30 pumping and pumping? And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's absolutely insane. Nobody was trading it. People had the information ahead of time. They knew that this is what it was going to look like. And then massive amounts of banks and hedge funds just started buying. And then once it came in, poof, it exploded. And you're like, okay, this makes absolutely no sense. Everybody sees the numbers are bad. They're going to look at a retracement. They're going to look at possibly selling. And that's what's going to wipe them out. That's what the idea was. And then once it reached the top, what do you think happened then? They obviously went the other way, and then all those people lost again. So this is the problem when you have the market manipulation. You have to try to get your picks here and there. So if you lose 10, doesn't matter. You can do that on the next trade and then make it back and then back. And you slowly grow from there. That's the idea. So that's why I'm more weird when I take my positions than when I take my trades. And I feel more comfortable that way. I was in a US 30 position today. I was almost at my PP1 and it ended up reversing. So I closed at the but with a little bit of profit just before 10 a.m. Eastern because I knew that one of the Feds was going to top. That's when I was more careful. Then we ended up getting into the position on gold where it completely retraced and reversed on the hour, and it just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I said to myself, damn, if US 30 was going to go up, I assumed gold might come down, so it was a decent position for me to get into. And then that's when I wiped out all the profits. And there's usually a correlation between US 30 and XAU USD, where they are usually opposite to each other because they are counter to it. When the dollar is good, US 30 will go up, and if the dollar is good, gold will come down. Today it didn't happen that way. And I'm wondering why that's been going on. And I'm wondering if it has anything to do with trying to take a position that's different after Trump gets enacted when we take red event older trades. Now that we're not taking them, we're more careful. But
Yeah, I think that I do understand.
It makes it more difficult.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree. I don't take the re-breaks anymore during news because of that same reason. Back then we would get a push and then market would continue pushing in that same direction at least for another 10 pips. At least it would say the market would say, "Okay, the market's bearish." And then the market would basically kind of say, "Okay, cool. I trust these numbers are true. Let me continue selling off." But now it's like the market dumps and they're like, I don't trust these fucking fake ass, lying ass numbers. And then everybody reverses the fucking push. So like what happened to Don? Don took a massive loss, I think, on a sell down here the other day. On a,
on Friday, yeah.
down on because of yeah, where was Friday NFP right here? But
Yeah, I think he was in profit 20 pips or so, and then he ended up with a massive loss. But he took the position based on the strategy that made sense, where uh, it, it dropped, retraced, broke the low. Excuse me, broke the lows, got in, was in profit, didn't close.
which is
20 pips in profit almost.
that's the exact same entry that I take. The
I
exact
think most of us will take.
So like yeah, and that's the same entry, the trade that I just took now. That's the same sell stop that I just took now. My only difference is that when we have a daily low, that shit's important. That was the daily low, right? We already broke the daily low. We already pulled back, and we're already trying to re-break the daily low. My sell stop was here. I caught this push here for a push 20 pips. So I caught this push here. I guess he entered at the same time as me because I caught this push here for like 18 pips. And then I closed my trade and then it instantly reversed. So I guess he held for longer. My break-even point was right here. So I saw all these levels here and that's what I made my break-even point. And I think that's exactly what price touched before coming up. But it was close. When I saw that price literally just flew straight down and it was paused right here, right before my break-even point, I just spammed the close button. And then it pulled back like 2 pips and I caught almost 20 pips on this push here. So the daily low was the difference for me on the entry. But yeah, it's the same shit, bro. The price made a low. We came back. We broke the daily low. Once we pulled back again, I wanted to confirm, all right, if we re-break that low again, this is technically the push we would take during news. The first push, pullback, the second push was the trade that we used to take. But I was like, all right, that shit's been failing, but this is my setup. Let me wait for the second push. And then I took that second push that actually gave me 20 pips.
Yeah, and also we take a position after that as well. People always asking, hey, why are you going to sell if the market is bullish or it's pushing up? And
yeah, Wix, where did he enter? Like right here? Like a top wick entry here, something for like the 15?
He did. I don't know if that was that position.
Because I know he took an entry here. So I know Don took an entry down here. And then Wix took an entry shortly after, and he took some more pineapples. Yeah. And then Wix took like a pineapple here, another one like here. And then I think on this pullback, yeah, this is the pullback that got him into profit. How many did he take here? He probably took more than one here.
So I think he took 2 pineapples. I think he was in 3 positions or 4 positions in total. And then once it gave him that option when it came back down, he ended up 55 pips in profit. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so his entries were higher up then. His entries
were higher up. And then it was 2 or 3 pineapples.
Yeah, it makes sense if he had an entry here, like another entry like here, and then another entry here when this one pulled down fucking 59 pips. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because then he would have been profitable for his first pineapple. I think that's what it was.
Maybe in profit on 2, possibly, and that made up for this one in drawdown. But it looks. Yeah. But yeah, I mean. That's when I'm like, all right, cool. I took a sell. If I already took a sell here, I'm like, all right, I'm not taking this extra sell. I already took my sell here and price is reversing. One thing I notice is when I take my re-break entry, a lot of the times price will reverse after I close. And hey, that's exactly what it did. And it was just adding to something that I've been confirming with my entry saying, okay, cool. Maybe I'm catching the very end of the move and I'm scalping that very last bit right before the reversal. Maybe I can anticipate that reversal and then swing that reversal back up because I scalped this. So maybe I can just risk the same profits that I just made on trying to attempt the reversal. So that's something that I've been looking into. But so far I have like a tally list, and every time that I see it, I write a little check mark. And every time that it doesn't happen, I write a little check mark on the other side. So far it's been happening the majority of the time.
I'm seeing gold right now trying to break the lows again. Wondering if it's a strong daily low. I mean, I see it at 2670 approximately.
We just broke on my end. Oh, look at that 15.
Yeah,
That's a
mine. I'm seeing 2670 if it comes down, but I think it would probably stop there and then maybe it might reverse at that point. That's what I'm thinking. That's where I have my line.
But this is what it feels like not to do anything during the live stream.
look at this guy, Wix.
Yo!
Yeah, let me hit this for you, bro. Let me hit this for you.
So you heard us talking about your trade on NFT for last Friday. Wix.
Oh, he froze. He
I
froze.
think it's over. Yeah.
No, this is dumping now. We would have had the pineapple out of this. I think the pineapple would have been profitable.
It would have, because it would have been 30 or 40 pips, and you would have, you're right now at the position just where the first entry would have been, so you'd definitely be in profit 30 pips at this point.
Yeah, and it respected this level pretty nicely. Oh, there we go. He's back.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Who's back?
No.
Me?
Oh, yeah, there you are. Yeah, you froze for a second.
Oh, yeah. I was walking down the street.
Yeah, I could see it's completely darkness where you are.
Yeah, we were talking about
down.
you now and talking about managing risk and how we manage your positions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I spent the day looking at pineapple. Well, I spent the last few days looking at pineapples and just the difference in spot gold, and because the levels are different. If you notice today, we would have taken our pineapples would have been a bit different had we traded spot gold. It's just the levels were different, and whatever was a level on a 15 or a 30 was a 5-minute level on a futures platform. I think I'm just I'm trying to say that I'm working towards being a little more selective on the pineapples, or not even selective, but trying to snipe them a little bit more. But like, I don't know. I honestly, with the way that we are fundamentally, and the way the news coming out, it was I don't know. Let's say we don't take that initial position and we wait for a better entry on our first trade. We don't make the 40 pips. You know what I mean? We don't make that 38 pips.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that earlier.
I just like from my understanding of where price needs to go at the very least, and that the daily is not just going to push to the top of the daily range. A lot of times, especially in the last few months, I've just noticed that it makes sense to take that initial entry or the first two entries, even though they're so low in the range, because the probability of the trade working out is so high, because it's either going to run from there heavy, or we're going to get a chance to pineapple. And if I know that it's high, if it's a really high probability, I don't want to miss the initial drive, because it might drive there, right? Like, and based on our pineapples and on the ranges, I didn't see us going into like 15, 16 positions. Maybe I only had like 5 positions mapped out. But I don't know. I think levels wise, there's a way for us to be getting into positions a bit earlier, off a 5-minute. But I'm just not too sure of how futures, move in relation to USD. But from what I saw today, if you look at the levels between spot gold and futures gold, the 5-minute levels would have worked every time on futures. It went 10 pips and out, 16 pips out, 14 pips out. I don't know. That's the only way to start upgrading. Just to realize which levels are being held, which aren't. But I can't say that our, like, even though there's a lot of pineapples, I can't say it's a bad position. I can't say at this moment in my trading that I would have done something different. I just see the high probability of the market either driving down or at least coming back to that area. You know, as we take the position, we're so far ahead, and we have multiple chances today to make bank, even in drawdown.
Yeah, but
I already see. I'm just like, I was looking at it because I received a whole bunch of messages right after stream. Like, man, I lost. And what are they doing? It was just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you should do. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. I know what I do because I understand what I'm looking for. Right? I feel like people are taking, like, they're leaving room for like 4 or 5 positions, and they're maxed out. You know. For me, even at 10 positions, I'm nowhere near to being maxed out, you know?
that's what we were saying earlier, and I was explaining, like, if you're gonna be maxed out at 4 or 5 positions because maybe that's how your funded rules are, or because you're trying to leverage your account or whatever, understanding that before the majority of the time we're out in profit by like the 3rd or 4th pineapple, the majority of the time. So even if you want to take your losses after your 4th pineapple, if it does keep going further,
on average, I'd say, like, my average amount of trades is anywhere between 2 to 6 entries. That's like standard. That's like 2 to 6 entries every trade.
so if you're like, all right, cool,
so either 1 to 3 positions, right? Every trade.
Yeah, we were looking at
a large number of our trades take at least a pineapple. So let's say that, I mean, if I were you guys and you're trading a smaller account and you're trying to build a strategy revolving around what I do, I mean, you probably don't take that first trade we took today. You miss it, right? But on the second trade, you probably wait for the 2nd or the 3rd pineapple, right? And if you're building a strategy around that, then you can say, all right, I'm only taking the trades where we're 2 pineapples in or 3 pineapples in, and if you only do that, you're profitable. You know what I mean? And you're not losing this, but you're not making that 38 that first trade today, right? But you're also not going to be in massive drawdown because you probably would have had really good entries for the 2nd trade.
yeah,
So that's what I typically do. I would like take one position and like that next entry has to be the most optimal entry.
yeah,
It's
there's
a trade-off, you know what I mean?
right, yeah, there's a couple different ways you could take it. Like we were saying earlier, if you wanted to catch all of the entries and beat up those 38 pips on those first initial pineapples, then you would have to have the lower win rate and cut your trade off after a certain amount of pineapples, understanding that, hey, there's a high probability that I'm going to have a 50 or 70 pip day tomorrow without that much drawdown or that many pineapples. So it's a trade-off.
I think if you're building strictly around my pineapples or where I'm taking a 2nd or 3rd position, I think your win rate goes up. You just have less positions overall.
You have to lower your lot as well for risk management because, 16 positions, it adds on, especially on a live account like mine. I didn't have a million to work with, so I can see, I feel it a lot faster, a lot more.
Well, I'm going to be working with, once I split my accounts up, I'm going to be working with 30 grand each. Well, now it's going to be more, maybe like 35 grand each. But
You're going to split it into two accounts? So
yeah, I'm going to leave one for a business and leave one under personal. And I'm just going to copy trade it.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at possibly getting into positions on the pineapples at 30 pips or so instead of taking every position that you were going to take, so that we could lower our risk management. And obviously, when you have futures, and I think I mentioned that a little earlier today, you're in futures, you only get 1 pip spread on top that we're getting 2 to 3.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll have 1.5 to 2 or something like that. It's pretty decent for me. but on high volume times, it'll go up. And then I think that's what happened when you closed the top, and I was still in drawdown. I was like, okay, give me a second. I need another, 5-6 picks. I'll be right there. And then
It wasn't a profit for too long and too much, it was max in profit, like 18, 20 pips.
yeah, I never saw profit at all. So that's why I was like, oh damn, did I get screwed because of my spread, or did I take wrong entries, or something happened? So I think that's what I'm gonna have to do because I was in
How
profit.
much? Hold on. Wait, you closed when I closed, except you
No,
went.
I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't.
how much? How much would have been the close where I closed? Let's say.
I would have had a loss of 20 or 18 pips or 20 pips. So I was
So
like, all right, give me another 5-6 pips and I can get the DE.
That's spread.
yes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was spread just because of that. And then when it reversed to me, I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked at how much I made for the day, and I just closed right there. In that bullish candle, my 146 big profit gone right down in that one trade.
So,
then I have to go back and make profit.
It does make a lot of sense because let's say you take a pineapple right when Wix takes a pineapple, but you have 4 pip spreads, your pineapple is now 4 pips lower than it actually should be. And then if you
Yeah.
take 11 entries and all your entries are minus 4 pips of where they actually should be, because on futures you only have 1 pip spreads,
Yeah, that's gonna
you're
add
down
up
40
to
pips.
10%.
Yeah.
That's why I don't really. The only reason I look at pips now is because now I see the average position, so I kind of see where I need to get back to be break even. But before that, I didn't see that on the Forex chart, right? And I don't look at the numbers. I never look at the actual numbers, so I just go based by the chart and the levels and where it makes sense to logically close. I think if you focus more on the chart and less on the actual numbers that are moving, it'd be a lot easier to make a decision. I think you would have probably closed. You would have seen this floor, you probably closed. And
Yeah.
if it's minus 20 pips, or you'll look at it later. But in the grand scheme of things, that minus 20 meant, didn't really matter. You were up a lot for the day.
Also, you have to look
Yeah.
at the difference in movement between gold and on futures and spot gold, because sometimes the sweeps are a little bit larger on futures, where you'll get like a nice wick up where you'll take a top wick entry and then you're in profit a lot earlier than you would be on gold because the other gold didn't wick up that far.
I think once you're taking the actual entry, you should focus on the chart you're trading.
Right, try to mimic the levels and not like when he takes the entries. Try to look at what level it looks like on futures and then try to mimic that same level structure wise on spot gold.
Oh, yeah, if you're on spot gold, it's not. That's I think in those cases you have to draw the lines because it'll wick differently. It'll set up very similarly, but the candle itself can print differently. You can get a 20-30 pip steeper wick on spot.
Look,
right?
this is a good example right here, right? So on futures, there we have a 5-minute level right here below all these wicks, and then on regular gold, it's that level of support is being respected right now. So the same sells that I took on futures on XAU, I wouldn't have taken that same exact entry because we're respecting this support here. On gold here, we're not respecting that support. We still haven't reached that support, so I was targeting some scalps down to that level. So that's the difference in trades that I can take on here versus on XAU. XAU, the movement still happened, but the target isn't the same anymore, right? Because I'm targeting here as my break-even point, as this support, and then on here, that's just clean traffic all the way through. So that's one thing that that you have to notice. So like if I'm gonna take the rebreak of the low, if you have a major support here on XAU, then maybe it's not the push isn't gonna be the same as it is gonna be on futures. So maybe you'll only get like just like one of my first few nights on stream where we caught those nice sells off the daily low. I pushed for like 15 pips, and then as soon as I pressed close, it pushed like another 10 pips. So I caught like 28 or 30 pips on one entry, and then for you it drove 90 pips. So that's like one of the differences. Like sometimes it's the opposite, where spot gold will swing very far and futures won't, and then sometimes it's vice versa, or you're looking for a top wick entry, you take that entry on futures, and then by the time it gets down to the 30-minute open, if you took like a 30-minute top wick entry, you're 15 15 pips in profit, whereas on XAU that top wick is not the same size. So your closure is going to be different. So maybe your closure is only like at 8 pips and you're like, ah, shit, it's only like at 8 pips. Let me hold a little bit longer, and then boom, it reverses the other way, and then you close for a loss when somebody else closed for a win. Those are
what happened today, because a lot of times when he'll close a profit and then I'm still in drawdown, I might have waited a little bit, but sometimes I'll be massive more profit than he is. And then today I was looking at possibly having that as well. I needed 5 or 6 pips more just to be able to give me that bit, either that B or that profit. And then when that happened, boom, it reversed. And then
Maybe do that when you're like 3, 4 positions in, but if you're 10 positions in, right? No.
yeah.
Don't risk it. But 4 positions, yeah, get your extra 5 because if it goes back against you, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, no, yeah, it hurt really bad, and it didn't even go up that much, but because I was in so many positions, it just killed me, and I was gone very quickly, and with the spread as well, I just got, slaughtered. So actually, I cut off the actual blood gushing, because it ended up being in way more drawdown. So I took the loss there, and I said, you know what, I'm annoyed, it happens, but let me get back into it. Got back into it, took sales as if they were going to be pineapples at the top, and then I actually made profit that way. So that's what got me my money back and back into profit instead of EE for that day. So that's what I actually did, looking at the actual position, being in drawdown if I was in the position, and then I took them as the pineapples were there at 72 on spot, and then that's what actually gave me the profit back. So I was very happy with myself.
All right. Gang, I gotta run. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the morning.
See you in the morning, brother. Have a good night. Thank you for showing up, bro.
Sounds good. Have a good night. Good to see you.
Appreciate the convo. Yeah, I'll see you guys for the New York session. Later.
Let's get a little flex, gang. A little flex.
Yes.
Good night.
Little flex. Have a good night, everybody. Not everybody, but Wix.
It just came all the way down here.
Yeah, I was gonna say a sell stop at the break of this low here, but it pushed 15 pips. I mean, it gave us a nice push.
It might reject now. I mean, this is the daily low. I had that on my
Yeah,
it might bounce and reject here, so I would not want to take a sell here.
Yeah, I'm looking for a good level. See, look, now we've broken into this range here, and we have all these wicks here. At first, right, all these levels were levels I was looking to take rejection sells off of, right? So these are all sells that I was looking to say, okay, if we come down and come up and tap this level, I can take a rebreak of the daily low here, because that's a super strong resistance across the board. But now that we've broken through all of that, we've cleared this range here. Now I want to see us literally come back at least to somewhere up here and like confirm a lower high before taking more sells, because I want to confirm a lower high now and then a rebreak of the daily low and get into this clean range here. If we can get into this clean range after creating some bullish structure here and then coming back down, that's when I would prefer sells, unless we start getting some higher time frame closures steeper down. But then I would have to see like good structure forming. I would like to see like some good pushes down, not just like some trickling down. It would have to be like the same exact like push down like this. But we did have kind of like a bullish sentiment in the beginning, talking about how this could be the bottom wick for the weekly before pushing up to continue bullish. And because we had like this massive wick down here, it could be that it's just grabbing liquidity before driving up.
Yeah, I kind of think tomorrow's gonna be very interesting.
Oh, the guy's at the door, brother. Hold up, I'll be right back.
Been in a range of days.
That's usually something common when you have big polar events.
Yeah.
You have a lot of days prior to that are going to be ranging, and you see it very often for F1. You'll have 1 or 2 days prior to that, just like dead. I think that's what occurs because people are just waiting on the news, waiting on the information, and people are unsure as to where the market's going to go, so that's why you see a lot of ranging. I didn't think that was going to happen in the way that it did
Yeah,
get.
I've seen it many times. And even NFT last week was kind of dead. Yeah, okay, but typically NFT would run for 400 to 500.
Obviously, it all depends. Numbers are different now. The markets are different.
Clutch.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that I remember last year.
Got it, gang.
Saying like, well, March last year was a learned lesson for me because like I'm way more advanced than
Back
then.
I would say, in terms of like, March is where you can actually blow your account so fast. Like, if you're not like, what's the word? Like, if you're not experienced with those type of conditions, you can either supercharge your account or you can either blow it very fast. Like, I've blown my accounts last year during March and April. Like, the market was quarter two going into the end in the quarter, it was ending the quarter one, going into quarter two is insane. Like, even Asian session be pushing 300 pips, 400 pips.
Yeah, it was like December. It was like past December for sure.
Yeah, it was insane quarter two last year, and I've blown a lot of accounts quarter two because yeah, and I can take that experience going into quarter two, knowing that your risk management have to be on top, or you can get burned a lot.
It's not easy to manage your risk and do what you need to do when you have a lot of profits in there and you're like, oh my god, let me get into this trade, and then it reverses on you. Like, wait, what just happened? You know, these are positions that you used to always take, and now it's just nope, you can't take them anymore. You can't take break of lows. You can't take rebreaks of lows. You can't take rebreaks of highs anymore. The rejection is almost instant.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. Like for the past days, couple of days, I had a loss. I think it was sometime. I don't even remember it, to be honest. It's sometime like 2 days ago or something like that. I think it was around 90 pips or almost close to 100 pips. I don't remember the exact number, but I think I made it all back. Yeah, yeah, I made it all back within the next day. And how I look at it now is like just trying and just focus on the chart and take it one trade at a time rather than
Yeah,
and
that's
try.
the idea.
Yeah, you need to learn to. What I realize is you have to learn to adapt. If you do not adapt and keep on tweaking and tuning, like the markets is constantly changing.
That's what I put.
Hey, options. Did you buy there? Did you buy there? I know that was your setup right there.
Yeah, I just asked him the same thing in the chat. He says, yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
see.
you're 20% profit on us now.
Yeah.
That's what he bought. That's a nice buy.
So now that we're in this clean traffic, right? We have like a little minor resistance here. I would like to see us like break above, come down, retest, and then reflip. And then that would give us like a bottom wick on this 5. That would be a rejection off that. The hourly would be flipping after this no bottom wick. That could give us a nice push. How many pips do we have here? Sometimes in the ghetto, right? When sometimes people will do construction at night. They come home from working construction all day and they're like, it's time to do construction on my house. And now this guy's cutting some fucking lumber at 9 o'clock at night.
Bro, that's illegal. You can't have noise of that nature. At night, you can still have some noise up to 11 p.m., but lumber cutting at 9 p.m., bro, that's ridiculous. Oh, look at it pumping. Damn.
I wanted a steeper wick here. Oh. I wanted a wick for this 5, and then I would have taken an entry there. On the flip, taken an entry there, taken an entry there. Taken. Why do I keep saying tooken?
Because it's took in the past, and you think it's the same thing, but it's not tooken. It's I took, or I would have taken.
Like, so in the Discord, right? One thing that we've been doing a lot lately, at first, a lot of us were noticing things, right? We're like, oh, sometimes I notice the market does this, and then it'll do this after. kind of like identifying an edge. And a lot of the times we would be kind of scared to say something, or we wouldn't say anything. And then we just started talking to each other, and we just started giving out our ideas and saying, look, I've been noticing this, and that, and talking about this, and that. And then two other people were saying, oh, I also noticed that. And then we're like, oh shit, multiple people are noticing this. And then we were like, all right, let's start fucking taking these trades. And then we started taking these trades, and then we literally identified the entry. We identified when it works. We identified how long and how many pips these trades actually run for. And like some of the guys even have targets that they've identified that it works with. They're like, oh, when I only take this trade when I see a no top wick, or when and they've added their own little nuances to it based off something that was discovered in the clubhouse, where one person brought it up and then another person was like, yeah, I do kind of notice that. And then somebody else was like, oh yeah, I've been noticing this. And then somebody else was like, oh yeah, I do notice that. And then through that, the money printer came into play, which is the no bottom wick closure. Price comes down, grabs a bottom wick to an area of liquidity, and then starts to drive in the opposite direction. So like that's a trade that was developed in the clubhouse. The bougie scoop was developed on stream, where we started noticing that if you take that money printer along with a 1 minute scoop on the SMA, that can bring you some volume, right? This tiny bottom wick closure, this candle came down, created a bottom wick. You're starting to get the scoop here. That's the money printer. So like these kind of ideas came into play because we all decided to just voice our ideas and then actually just start forward testing. And then when multiple people started noticing the same thing, we're like, all right, there's something going on here. It looks like we know what the fuck we're doing. We're paying attention. If one person notices something, all right, but then if 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people notice it, you're like, oh shit, this isn't just something, a coincidence. This is an edge that we're noticing, is that we're developing like in live action. So like take everything Wix teaches you, or whatever Don teaches you, everything, and you use those concepts to your own. Like I was on the 1 minute time frame before any of these guys ever got on there, and people would be like, why are you on the fucking 1 minute? And then Don comes back from trading and he's like, yeah, I'm taking entries off the 1 minute now, looking at the 1 minute. And then people were like, what the fuck? And I'm like, yeah, the natural progression is you start to get so in tune with candles and market structure that you could even go down to the 1 minute and see that structure forming, and you can anticipate it and take advantage of that. Like you wait for the hourly closure, you wait for that 30-minute closure, you wait for that 30-minute to come down to create a bottom wick, and then you can even go down to the 1 minute and start looking for the scoop, start looking for the money printer, start looking for the money printer on the 5 to anticipate that 30-minute top wick. Instead of just taking a top wick entry, you're now looking for setups at the top wick to anticipate that top wick entry. So you're giving yourself like a second confluence at the top wick, knowing that you're highly bearish. You're waiting for that top wick entry. So let me see what kind of entries I can find here. Maybe I can get a money printer set up as a top entry. Maybe I can get, something that you normally look for, like a EMA rejection or a tap of an SMA or some whatever, an extra confluence to confirm the top wick area. And you know what I mean? So that's one way you can avoid higher drawdown, by waiting for that one extra confluence at the top wick to really verify that that is the top wick area or not. Sometimes it just taps certain levels and you can go based off levels, but a lot of the times it'll tap that level and you'll get like a 1 minute some resistance form. It breaks that resistance and then it flips bearish. So that's a fake out. So you know what I mean? You can take the fake out back down as the top wick entry. So it all, like if you have the DVS playbook, you can see the breakout or the fake out entries where you're anticipating a fake out. Like you can literally look for that same fake out entry on the 1 minute as you're looking for a top wick entry. So you can look where the 1 minute starts to fake out and you can anticipate that level as the top wick entry. So you can go down super deep with candle structure, and then that's how deep you're supposed to be going down. Literally in every trade. I go down to the 1 minute, if I could go down to the 30-second chart, I would go down to the 30-second chart to see how the 1 minutes are closing. Because the doji 1 minute tells me some information, but on the 30-second, there's probably a breakout to the upside, a fake out, and then a reversal back down, right? So that tells me, all right, cool, this wick isn't just a wick to the upside. This is a reversal where price is starting to come up to this level and form resistance here on the 1 minute and on the 30-second. So maybe it's starting to accumulate here some resistance, and then the 30 leads to the 1, leads to the 5, like how ICT says price is fractal. Every lower time frame leads to the higher time frame. Yeah, bro, exactly, Bougie. You try to get surgical with the entry, bro. And then if you get surgical with the entry and you're like, wow, I used to take a sell stop here, but now I'm taking an entry here. If before this was a high probability setup, maybe I can hold past this push and catch, instead of only 10 pips, now I can be catching 20 pips. Now I can be catching 30 pips. Now I can be catching 40 pips. The more precise you are with your entry, the more correct you are, and the more and the higher probability or the higher win rate you have, that means you're going to be catching these larger moves. So the better your entry, the larger the move you're going to catch. Because let's say if you get down to where your entry is this wick here, you can literally go break even anywhere almost, and you would have been in profit 47 pips. So you could have literally been break even anywhere you want here and be in profit. So like, the better your entry, the faster you can go break even, and the more profit you can cash in on. So that's why I broke my entries all the way down to the 1 minute. I'm like, I'm gonna use the same DVS concepts on the 1 minute. See what happens. I'm gonna start looking for price to drive to 1 minute levels and see what happens. I'm gonna start looking for targets at the 1 minute level and see what happens, right? My target was this white line here. If I would have held my trade from here to this white line, I would have caught 14 pips. It would have driven an extra 15 pips, and I would have been fine. It reversed. It started to drive back. So for me to catch 15 pips and it only drives an extra 15, that's perfectly fine. I know that, oh, cool, maybe I can hold for 20 pips the next time. And then the next trade, I'm going to see, all right, cool, I closed at 10 pips, and it drove 30. Next time, I'm going to try to hold for 20. And then the more that I see, all of my trades are driving for 30 pips, 40 pips before reversing. Where is that mark at? And then I start looking, oh, shit, I'm trading from this level to this level. So I waited for the setup. I took a sell. So I could literally target this level with no problem, because look, I'm trading from this level to this level. This is the kind of shit that I'm looking at. Look at how clean this price action is, bro. Perfect tap of this level to the T. Perfect rejection off this level. So like, that's how I started identifying my trades. So I'm like, all right, if I'm going to take a sell that rejected perfectly off this level, where else did it reject perfectly? This level. So that's where I'm going to target. And I'm going to try to be break even before that point. So once price gets there, look at what happened. Price reversed. So I'm going to start taking every one of these 1 minute levels into account, and I'm going to take my trades regarding those 1 minute levels. Damn, NQ has just been trash. Yeah, I only had this setup here, but then it went into drawdown. The pineapple would have been profitable, but I don't think I would have. I want to be in drawdown for profit. I'd rather be in instant profit. We just had a 15-minute closure 2 minutes ago. The 15 closed bullish. We closed above all of these levels here. So let's see if we can get a nice bottom wick. I would like to see more closures, man. I would like to see more closures before taking buys. That's the shitty part about having a strong push that just kind of freezes. You want to really confirm we're coming up above this level, because this is a strong resistance. Retest it and then break. So then I can take my buy stop right on the flip of this. Once we confirm that we're breaking above these levels, once we confirm that we're using this as support, tapping this level as support, confirming we're breaking above all these levels. We already closed above it on the 15. above the 15-minute resistance. So now let's wait for the 5-minute to also do the same and to give us a better indication that it's coming up for real, for real. So I want to confirm that this is really the daily low, because a buy here, bro, you can hold for like 20, 30 pips. Because if you get a really nice...
In the Clubhouse chat was mentioning that he sent the setup that he was looking at. If you guys want to take a look at it, it looks really awesome. And obviously there's more confirmation that the 4-hour had no bottom wick when it opened. So that's where he took the buys.
What's up, Kenny?
And then you mentioned he closed 50% at 20 pips.
Yeah, he was saying that a lot earlier. And I was looking at that. That's why I was saying if he took those buys, because I was also looking at the same thing, and that's something that I've been testing off stream, right? That I've been testing on my own. That I haven't fully been. I've only taken it on the evaluations. I haven't taken it live. Where I'm targeting, right, the break of the daily lows, right? Or the break of the daily highs. And what happens after eventually breaking the highs too much? You reject, and that becomes the new low of the day, and price starts to reverse. So knowing that I was looking for sells here, price tapped my target, and we got a strong reversal push right out of there. Could this be the low for the day? Because I know through my past experience that I scalp a lot towards the end of the range, and I catch that final push. So knowing that I'm catching that final push and we're rejecting off my target, could this be one of those scenarios where price reverses right after I close in profit or close break even or whatever? And it looks like it is. So with the whole weekly analysis that we were talking about, the 1 minute is starting to align now with the weekly, forming some support here, starting to come up. So it's starting to make a lot of sense now. The daily is starting to it broke the daily low once. It broke the daily low again, and then it broke for a third time here, and it didn't continue driving, and now we're rejecting. So this could very well be the low of the day.
How low of a bottom wick are you looking at on the 15th, possibly getting to a position once it retraced the highs?
So it depends. Right now it's looking.
Right now I think it's about 10 pips. Not even, I think it's 8 pips, not enough for sure. I'm just wondering if 15 pips, in this case, at the 72 level, oh yeah, you're not on that.
So
you're not on spot. But yeah. Oh, and you have a white line there. Okay.
Yeah, so if we get on spot and we just had, so these levels are strong. So a flip would be hard. These prices really starting to reject these levels hard. So I would like it to maybe come down to like some of these levels here. I start to look at when price starts to break out, the first resistance, and now they created a support that it broke out before continuing. I like to mark that level, right? And then when I mark that level, I look over and looks like price, it became an important level because price bounced off of it here. When you move across the board over here, price also bounced off of it here. So if you have a bullish sentiment and you're looking for a bottom wick, you could be looking for a bottom wick area somewhere here, knowing that when price taps this area, we kind of bounce back up off this level. So if you're looking for like a 15-minute bottom wick, this could be an area where the 15-minute gives you a bottom wick at. And then once we start flipping bullish and I can get like a 5-minute closure above this range, I'm like, all right, cool. The 15-minute gave me the bottom wick that I wanted. The 15-minute flip started flipping bullish. We're closing above this little resistance that we have here, because when you draw it across the board, it's pretty strong across the board here. So I want to actually close above and then get another setup bullish like this. And then once like that story starts to play out, you say, all right, cool. My 15-minute closed above the most recent resistance. My 15-minute gave me a beautiful bottom wick to the most recent areas of support. Now, can we get this closure above to really confirm that we're coming up so I can take a buy towards the daily high? Then that would be a big retracement here of this bottom wick on the daily, and you could be targeting the daily high here. This is an area to be wary of, but if we do get a closure above and then a rebreak, we have decent here. We have like 20 pips here before we go break even. And then when you do go break even, we have some support here that price can use to bounce off of. And so hopefully we're entries before that. When looking for 15 bottom wicks, I like to see when the market was bullish, where did we bounce off of? So when the market was bullish here, we bounced off this level. So if we could bounce off this level, see how we used this level, this support, and turned it into resistance? We want to confirm that we're turning it now back into support to come up, instead of this just being a lower high for another rebreak of the daily low or a higher time frame retest. So once I see that, all right, cool. The 15-minute closed above. The 15-minute gave me a bottom wick. Right now, this still looks like it could reject here. If you were an order block trader or something, or you saw you're just trading off of support and resistance, how would you take this trade? You would look at this trade and you say, oh, cool, there's resistance here. I'm going to take a sell off this resistance and wait for price to get to a support, and then I'll take a buy off of support before coming back up. So I want to wait for price to sell off from this level, find a support, and then re-break the high, and then I can take some entries coming up. If you get hard pushes, you could take a flip and you don't have to wait for a closure. But you would need a closure, because if this 15-minute closes ugly like this, then it's confirming a higher time frame resistance here. So all the time frames paint a picture. And if you see that one, like for example, when, let's see if I can get a good example. Where can I, right here. So when price is driving up, you create a high, a low, a high, a low, a high, and then you could see the minor resistances to the left where price starts to struggle at. And you mark these levels up. So you notice that when price is driving, these little minor levels are important. So I want to confirm that we're gonna break above this level. Like for example, see how we broke out heavy here and we have this minor level here, how we created a resistance here, we tried to break out a few times, now we created a support on this breakout candle. That would have been a good entry, because you now said, all right, we had resistance here, we came down, created support, and now on the re-break of the high, after respecting the support, you could take an entry on the flip here. But like, damn, I lose my train of thought so much sometimes. But you want to confirm really that you're breaking above these levels before taking an entry, because these levels can literally give you a pullback, and then you're like, fuck, now I'm in drawdown, when it's just a pullback. You look off of this level can give you a pullback, maybe down to here, maybe down to here. So if you're taking a buy into this level, you have to understand that the last time price touched this level, we drove all the way down to here. So I have to have my stop loss now below this level, because if I'm taking a buy above, to break through this level and it fails, I know that the last time it did that, it plummeted down to these levels. So I'm going to have to take a pineapple to get out. So like this break above, came back down, retested, drove out. That could have been a beautiful entry to finish off the range here. 30 pips to the end of the range. You know that I know that a lot of the times when I take these entries, price reverses. So now what I can do is look for a reversal after we hit this high here. And what did price do? It fucking reversed, for at least for a little bit. I want to see this happen above that 5-minute level. Holy shit, look at that. If you were taking a bottom wick entry for the 15, this is what I would be looking for. If you're the kind of person that wants to take wick entries, I would be looking for this kind of setup. Once, instead of price drove down, boom, and I took a bottom wick entry here, I would wait for maybe something like this, and then the push up, your entry would have been in the same level, but now you have a higher confirmation that this is the bottom wick for the 15 versus taking your entry right off the opening of the candle when it pushes down here. You have a higher confirmation here when you formed a support, then you formed a resistance, and now you closed, you broke out. So you have a much higher probability of it pushing back to the upside here than you do on this candle here, taking the bottom wick entry as soon as it pushes. So that's one change that I make to the bottom wick and top wick entries. Um, Also, if you're looking for a 15-minute bottom wick entry, but you notice the 5-minute has now closed below, this 5-minute has no bottom wick. We're coming up for a top wick first. Just looking at the 5-minute, this is looking like it's about to flip bearish and start to come down. So just looking at that, you're like, oh damn, maybe this 15-minute bottom wick entry is not looking so good. Look at the 5-minute; it's looking like it's gonna be driving bearish. So those are the things that you take into account. And then if you do notice, hey, look, Wix is taking an entry here, but I'm noticing that prices hasn't shown sign that it's slowing down yet. Let me wait. And then he might take a wick entry, and then it pops another 10 pips. And yeah, cool, maybe now I'll take the wick entry. And you know what I mean? Now you have a 10 pip better entry. That's one good thing about waiting to take your mentor's trades instead of copying to the T. A lot of the times you can get a better entry. Like I would say maybe like 60% of the trades go into pineapple territory. So if you just wait for the second pineapple, the second to fifth pineapple, you will be in about 10 pips more profit every single trade if you copy to the T. So if he was negative, if you were negative like 18 pips today, Jay, if you would have waited for the second pineapple, you would have been break even.
So if I hadn't taken the second pineapple, the first pineapple and only the second.
Sorry, if you would have, yeah, if you would have taken only the first pineapple and not the first entry taken, then you would have been like 18 pips, or like I think the second entry he took was like 18 pips negative or something like that. So like,
yeah, I wasn't at the entry of the first pineapple. I think that's what put me in the drawdown for those from the spread.
Hey, one second, brother. My dog El Roto, if you guys can check out his channel and subscribe, he is 18 years old and starting to stream his trading journey, and all he's doing is back testing on stream, trying to develop his edge, trying to pass prop firm challenges on paper before he actually takes a real challenge. So he's literally doing this strategically to the T. I've never seen somebody so young do this so well. And he streams a few times a week. So if you guys want to check him out, I pinned him up here. He's my boy, Richie's little brother. Yeah, man. Me and him could talk about trading for fucking hours. And I'm like, dude, how are you so advanced and you've only been trading for like months? Like not even a year, just months. It's insane. But yeah, back to what we were saying. Yeah, bro, it's just knowing probabilities and understanding his strategy, and you could take advantage of his probabilities and his strategy to come out better than him. Like if like what he said, if you don't take the first entry and you only take the second entry on every trade except for the trades that drive on the first pop, like the first one that he took in the morning, that one drove on the first pop. But if you would just take the second entry, you would be up an extra 10 to 20 pips above what he is every time. So if you're naturally closing at an extra 10 to 20 pips every trade, if he closes 50 for the day and you're closing 70 or 80 for the day, you can now afford those super big drawdown days because you're building up a much higher buffer because you're taking more profit on those trades. So on his losing signals or the high drawdown ones, you now have an extra like 200-300 pips for that week or for that month that you wouldn't have had prior.
Yeah, and actually it ends up being about 30 pips to 40 pips for that second position that he takes. So it would have been my first pineapple. It kind of coincides with it. I think he takes positions at around 15, maybe 16, 18 pips in drawdown as the first pineapple, because obviously there are mini levels there. I think that would make sense. So if he goes into a pineapple at 15, 18 pips, I might wait for it and then only take it on the second one, and then so on and so forth. I think that's what would work for sure.
One thing that he doesn't use but I use, that I learned through market mechanic, was the SMA, the 10 SMA. And I've been noticing, every time he goes into the drawdown, I align it with the SMA, and I'm like, all right, was the SMA trending when he took that trade, or was the SMA starting to show signs of it scooping and rejecting? And I always have noticed that the SMA is starting to show signs of rejection when he takes those high drawdown trades, or that first trade that pops negative. And I have it written down how many times on what, on the 10 SMA. I just put it. I go on the 1 minute, because he's a breakout trader, right? And he's a trend trader, so he's trading. He wants to trade these pushes like this, where the market is trending, right? He doesn't want to be in like a chop like this or anything like that. So he's trading. The majority of the time when you see he takes entries, you'll see the market is trending like this, and you'll see the SMA is trending like this. But then sometimes you'll see it start to scoop like this, and then he'll have like an entry up here. And then I'm like, well, this is the bougie scoop, the trend line break that Javier takes, and this is a bullish setup that we've formulated in the chat, and he's taking a sell here. So for him, it's perfectly fine. He'll take a sell right here, and then he could take another entry like here, and then he'll take another entry probably here, and then this push down would put everybody in profit. But I would notice that this is a buy setup, and maybe I shouldn't take that first entry. So maybe I'll accept a little bit higher risk and take the second pineapple instead. And then when he takes his third pineapple, when the price pushes down this low, he's in profit 10 pips, but I'm really in profit 20 or 30. So sometimes that's how I would anticipate his trades. And then you will see that we're starting to get the scoop here, and you're starting to get that same, the reason why he went into drawdown here is the same reason the price drove the other way here. So that's something that I've been adding my own confluences to his trades to see, maybe I can get a better entry, or maybe I can wait, or maybe this is a good entry.
And you'll look at it on the 1 minute time frame on the 10 SMA, but when do you start getting that confirmation that it's actually a reversal as to how many pips? Because it does follow the 10 SMA, and you do only get that confirmation
So it's
after the candle has printed, obviously, because it just goes with the flow of it.
So the reversal will depend where the market is tapping, because we're tapping these 1 minute levels here. So that's where I would be looking. Cause see, we trended right till we got to this level, and then we started to scoop and trend the other way. You would have noticed that this scooped, because this closes every 1 minute. You would have noticed the scoop, maybe this 1 minute candle right here. So that would have gave you an opportunity to wait for the pullback on this candle and take a buy stop on the flip. Or if you're a trend line trader, the trend line trader would have been, so it all depends on how you look for trades, right? How you look for your entries. The trend line trader would have waited for the breakout of the trend, which was this candle, the retest, and then the flip. The flip puts you at that same candle here as waiting for just the scoop. So you see how the trend line break and retest gives you that same exact setup as you waiting for the break and retest of this resistance that's right here. You waited for that break, price broke it, came down, retested, and then flipped bullish. You would have similar entries. You'd probably be off by like 5 pips on the entry there. But then when you look on the 5 minute, you get that no bottom wick closure. The 5 minute gave you the money printer. This is the money printer right here. The no bottom wick closure. The 5 minute came down for a bottom wick first and then flipped bullish. This is where the entry would have been on the money printer.
I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow. If you don't know, see you in session.
Hey, hold on, Jay. You're a savage. I'm gonna pin that. Ooh. Come on, YouTube. You literally froze on me. So the revert, I don't take reversals on the 1 minute, but I look for if that does happen on the 1 minute to then identify, hey, maybe the rebreak of the low here or the top wick entry that he's taken is not too good, right? But then if he's taking like a top wick entry, oh, I just got the alert on NQ. But if he's taking like a top wick entry, right, and we're still trending underneath here, then I'm like, all right, cool. That entry is cool. Like if we broke the low here and he took a top wick entry right here, and then we're trending underneath here, beautiful. I could probably copy that trade. That trade still looks good. Or maybe that I would wait for another confirmation like this push down, and then I would take an entry here on the break of the low here just to confirm that we're coming down here. So that's what that we're rejecting the SMA here. So that's how I would kind of look at it. I just look at it for a confluence and not as a reason to take the trade, just as a reason to give me confluence to my entry. So
Okay.
on the higher time frame, oop, I got you. On the higher time frame, you can actually use the scoop to take a trade. The 5 minute scoop right here gives you a big ass push. The scoop right here gives you a massive push. By the time the push is happening, the scoop might not close, which is why people say the indicators are lagging and they're not useful, but you could see it happening on the 1 minute. So you could see the 1 minute starting to close below. You could see that push happen. So when you get that push after the scoop, you look, all right, cool. Did we close below the most recent support? We did. We came back, we retested it. Maybe now I can take a rebreak of the low, knowing that we scooped, and that gives you that extra push. So it just watch market mechanic on his SMAs on the screen and look for the blue one, and you'll see when he takes his swings what the blue one does. And a lot of the times on these lower areas, like you'll see it is scooped right here. It does this and it's scooped on this 5 minute candle. The scoop was like right here. So if we go into replay mode right here, this is what it looked like. We just got the scoop, price rebroke the high. You could have taken your entry here where your stop loss at the bottom here. And that's the scoop. We hit the resistance. Time to take partials, go break even or close. So that's how the scoop would be played. You pair the scoop with the scoop. I learned it from these guys, but you pair it with the trend line breaking whatever the trend line breaks. You get the scoop. You could take a buy just off two confluences after respecting a support like that. That's how the market mechanic uses a lot more confluences, but that's like the gist of it. And so I use those minor things to help me trade DVS a little better, to help me identify my top wicks better, to help me identify where my possible reversal could be, to help me identify if I'm going to take a top wick entry, I want to see this shit start to trend down. I want to see, and I start to add this to where to how I look for entries. So I still wait for the same thing. Like this is my wallpaper. I still wait for my closure, my breakout above. Price comes back, retests the new resistance, turns it into support, and then we re-break the high on the buy stop here. And that's the trade that I take. I take the celery. So you can get, this is the one that I really like to take, right? You get a breakout above, price comes back, makes this resistance now a support, and then you get the breakout. Normally I was taking a buy stop here, but I noticed that on the 1 minute, the higher probability is taking the buy stop on the break of this high, and that gives you that extra push up. And that's the trade that I've been taking. So I moved the buy stop instead of here to here. So you can look for this same exact setup inside of the 30-minute candle for the top wick entry to the downside like this. Price drove bullish, gave you this setup. You take your sell stop here, and that's on the 30-minute. That's literally just a top wick. And it's just DVS broken down deeper into candles. This is ugly price action here. Damn, bro. I said it again? No way. Fuck. I ran out of sticky notes. I gotta write it down.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna give up, bro. I just can't do it anymore.
It's the thing is, bro, I'm across the majority of people that I talk to, I'm the one with the highest vocabulary. Right. I speak to Spanish clients and I speak to Jewish clients. So the Jews can speak English, but they speak it with a super thick accent. And then my Spanish clients, I speak to them in Spanish. My uncle learned English here, so he speaks in English, but he doesn't speak it perfect like me. My cousin learned English here, he doesn't speak it perfect like me. Not perfect, but he doesn't speak it as good as I do. So like everybody that I speak to, I have the best English.
Imagine if I was saying, yo podía, instead of yo podía. You'd be like, bro.
I'd be upset. I'd be like, yo.
Your ears would be bleeding every time you'd hear it. And
I'd be like, yo, fix your lips, bro.
Yeah, imagine you hear that from everybody. Nosotros podíamos. You know, and you're like, bro, like it's not complicated. Just change it. That's what it feels like. It's hard for me to comprehend how people who most of the people that are in the States only speak one language, English, and they butcher it and they destroy it, and then it becomes mainstream speak and talk. You know, all the black people, and they say, yo, that's mine, he's mine, my man's.
Where did you grow up?
There's no S like mine or man. It doesn't exist. So you're like hearing all this BS. Damn, it's pumping. And then it just becomes mainstream, and people just speak horribly after that.
Where did you grow up at?
In a few places, Maryland, Montreal, Florida, in a few different places. So I speak 4 languages because my family is they're from Egypt. So you get to speak a different languages. They had me take private lessons in French and in English, and then I learned Spanish in school. So. And obviously Egyptian at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like growing up in school here, like when I took English classes, it was just it would give you a book, you would read the book, and then you would have to write a book report on it. So none of us would read it. We would go online, we would find a summary of each of the chapters, and then we would be able to write a report on each of the chapters off the summary, and we didn't even have to read the whole book, and we would pass, because Spark Notes was a beautiful thing back in the day. So it just made it so much easier. But then when I took my Spanish classes, because I took Spanish just to give me an easy A, to boost my GPA. So I took Spanish for non-Spanish speakers. So I was a Spanish speaker who knows how to read and write in Spanish around gringos. So I was pretending I didn't speak Spanish until they caught me and they put me in an AP Spanish class. But in that class, you have to do research in Spanish, and then you have to stand up in class and speak in front of everybody. And when you say something that's grammatically incorrect, they'll correct you, you go back, you fix it, and then you go back in front of the class and you speak it again. So they ensure that your grammar is proper, and you actually practice it in front of the class. Whereas in English class, you just sat there and listened to the teacher talk about The Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, stupid stuff that they're culturally very good books if you read them and actually pay attention to them. But we were all more excited to watch the movie than anything. But then in Spanish class, they're like, well, now you're going to do a research paper on the Roman Empire. And I'm like, on the Roman Empire in Spanish? What the fuck? And then you got to sit there and read about the Roman Empire in Spanish and then actually try to understand it, because if you're used to studying in English and now you got to study in Spanish, you actually have to pay attention a little bit harder to understand a little bit better because you're used to understanding in one language and now you got to understand in another. So you got to pay attention now. It's not like you can just gloss over English and you know what the words look like, so your mind kind of reads over them real quickly. But in Spanish, I'm not reading it every day, so I got to really sit down and read it.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show the education system in the States is absolute garbage. They destroyed everything. A lot of people just stopped caring. It's just about money now. Who can pay the most?
Well, like my cousin will give you a perfect example. He was like failing a few classes, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you can just do E2020 where you're doing the classes online, and then if you were like failing the online classes, which was like your last resort, the teachers would help you get the answers, and you would be able to do multiple semesters within a year." So a lot of people would say, "I'm just gonna fail the first 2 years, and then do my entire first, second, third, and fourth year on my last year, on my junior year," and they do an entire 4 years of school online, and then they graduate before everybody else, and they get a better GPA than everybody else. On paper, yeah, it's gonna show where your grades come from, but you graduated, you're out. On paper, the school gets a better grade, gets more funding from the government because they're raising everybody's scores.
They lie.
Like I did 4 years of engineering, and the only reason they kept engineering as an elective was because the overall engineering grade helped the school by 4 points, whereas an elective like gym helped the school out by 0.5 points. So if you caught an A in gym, it would take two people to equal 1 point for the school, right? So it would take about 4 people or 8 people to equal the same amount as it did for one student getting an A in engineering. So that's why they kept engineering, because it padded the school's record. It padded the fucking school's record, and damn, I wanted to pull back here, a steeper pullback, and then a drive up. It padded the school's fucking record. So in engineering, we would literally plug our keyboards into the back of the computer where the teacher was. Well, my cousin's laughing because he knows what we would do. The teacher would put everybody's grades on the board, and then he's like, "Hey, look, everybody, look at your grades for the week." And then he would only put your student number, so you can't see other students' numbers or other students' grades. So he would sit there on his computer, he had his screen or whatever, he's looking one way, and then we would just sit on the other side of his desk on the floor. So he's looking over, he literally can't see us. We're sitting on the other side of his desk. We plug in another keyboard to the back of his computer, and then with the up and down buttons, we just start going into our grades and going back like a month or two, and then adding in grades. Adding in 100, adding in 100, adding in 100, just to pad our grades, because we wouldn't do shit. We all had like D's and C's, and out of nowhere we would all get B's. So every quarter he's like, "Oh, you guys have the lowest grade in the class," and then out of nowhere by the end of the week we would all be at A's or B's. And that's how I got 4 A's in engineering for 4 years. That's literally what it comes to, literally what you do. So the school is now an A school. Oh, I didn't do that. I'm just kidding. But that's what it comes down to. People don't care. People are like, "All right, why would I go and learn how to use CAD to make 3D printed objects in engineering and all this shit when I can just tap a couple buttons and get a better grade?" Like I knew kids that
He would skip in his class.
Dude, people would to watch the teachers put in their password, and they would grab their phone, they would record it, and then you could see them typing on the keyboard, and all you got to do is just flip the video upside down, and now I could see exactly what keys you're typing, and I know what your password is.
Jorge Hernandez.
Like, that's how anybody that wanted to get an A or a good grade, that's what you would do. You would just finesse it. So like, that's why I completely understand why they want to defund the education system and leave it up to the states to fund their own education system. So we'll really know who's stupid and who the fuck isn't. All right, if we start flipping bullish and re-breaking the highs, I would be entering.
Yeah, that's what I was going to just tell you. We're seeing the bottom there.
I was like, bro, if it was that easy to just get past high school and I graduated high school, I graduated trade school, and we run a multi-million-dollar business, and I don't even know how to say "tooken" or "taken." Come on, bro. That shows how failed this system is.
Hey, accountability. I like that coming from you, man. That's good. That's good. Hopefully, you can work on that and think about the word before you say it, and then it just become natural in the future. If you're not taught the right way in the first place, it just becomes natural when you speak to other people. That you get the wrong words. You think it's correct. Uh, I hear a lot of people speaking. I'm like, are you sure that's how you say the word in whatever language? And then they're like, yeah, yeah. And then I'll look it up and I'll be like, no, that's not what it is. So, you gotta work on it on your end as well. It's just, honestly, people that speak horribly in English, they sound moronic to me because I can hear them speaking normally. And you're like, okay. Yeah, maybe you might want to try that word. This is what it actually is. And then over time, hopefully they'll learn. But if they're speaking with people that are just slang talk and from the streets, they're never going to learn because that's just the way they are. You want to differentiate yourself from people like that and show that you are educated. Because somebody with a lot of money that doesn't sound right, people are not going to respect them. That's just my personal opinion, but I think a lot of people think that way too.
Yeah, some people, it just depends. Like, some people don't give a shit, and like I have some customers that are extremely ghetto, but they have a lot of money, and the way that they speak is just extremely like rude and ghetto. And I'm like, all right, bro, but you got money, so are you gonna sign this check or nah? So like it's depends. Yeah, right for you. I think one thing's for sure, as a man, you have to have a certain level of like class and sophistication above all else. Like you really have to be presentable, clean cut. You can't have like dirty fucking shoes or like not like dirty shoes, but like you can't be dressed like a slob and have a shitty haircut and then always have like a shitty beard. You gotta be well groomed. You gotta have a good haircut. You gotta be clean cut. Like there's just certain things that as a man that you should resemble and you should have. You shouldn't be looked like as a slob or look like as dirty. And having a good vocabulary is part of that.
100%. If we fail as men, the world tells us right away. We feel it in everything. We get the consequences in our daily lives. It's a little different with women. We let things go, but as a man, you have no choice. You got to be better than everybody else because it's about a competition in a different way for us, right? So if you might not have a lot of money, but if you're able to speak, people are going to have enjoy speaking with you. And then if you make mistakes like anybody does, but you learn from your mistakes, that's what it's all about. Same thing in trading. Over time you'll learn and better yourself. Same thing in the English language or any language that you speak. And that's just part of life. That's how we learn. Hopefully you're able to do it when you're younger.
Yeah, I've seen the detriment of people in their old age trying to figure shit out. And if you don't have some sort of something figured out, man, it's gonna be tough for you to figure shit out later. You gotta grind since you're young. Like if you're already like 40, 50 years old and you're just now listening to this message, my brother, I pray whatever happens to you happens. Good things. But if you're like 20 to 30 listening to this message, bro, you gotta grind, dude. You gotta have some sort of stability, some sort of like literal stability, bro. You have to be able to be comfortable because you want to learn skills, you want to get rich, you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to trade, you want to do real estate. If you don't have your regular life in order, you will never, ever, ever, ever be able to learn how to do that.
Facts, but you learn from people with experience. And I don't care if the person didn't go to university or anything, that has nothing to do with it.
That's the cheat code.
And
That's the life cheat code. If somebody knows,
from people that are doing it,
yeah, exactly.
Still doing it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how Don is or Blake or anything. If they're doing the job right, I'm going to learn from them. And somebody who doesn't want to learn from someone just because of their age, it could be detrimental to them or hurt them in a way. You don't know who you're doing business with every time. You don't know who you're buying real estate from. It might be somebody young, somebody old, doesn't matter. But in the end, it has to make sense. So you can have a mentor that's younger than you just because they're more experienced in that field than you are. Obviously, becomes more visible and logical when you're talking to a doctor than someone who's not because they have that experience, you know, not just life-wise, they have the experience also, you know, in the schooling. But when you're having normal conversations with people, it's a little different. So you have to base yourself on what makes sense. And if the person's age is the one thing that's going to stop you from doing something, then you're an idiot because you can lose a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
looked at Don when he was 22 and I was like, who's this 20-year-old kid talking about trading? Why would I even look at him? But somebody recommended it to me to him that drives Lamborghinis. And they're like, this is my favorite streamer. And he was a trader that was making money. So I'm like, if this trader that's making money is fucking with this 20-year-old kid, maybe this kid's got something. And that's when I started watching Don streams in 2021, I believe, or 2022. And that's when I started learning about Forex in 2022. And that was my day one. I was watching some nighttime streams and I'm like, all right, this is my time to learn. Let me watch people do it live. And then I found a 22-year-old kid online. And if like looking at Wix, you would be like, oh, what does this bearded guy with dreads know? And then you listen to his story and he's had multiple businesses. He's sold multiple businesses. He runs multiple businesses. He's had a successful career outside of trading. You're like, wow, you don't judge a book by its cover, by looks. You judge the information based off the information given. I don't care what you look like on stream. What are you talking about? What are you saying? What's your information? And then Don was talking about candles, and I'm like, huh. He broke that down in a way that I've never heard before. So let me continue listening, huh? So that's what pattern trading is. When people are looking for this bullish flag, it's really because the 30-minute did this, that followed through with the 15 and the 5-minute, and he breaks down like a bullish flag down by candles. And I'm like, oh, that's what people are looking for when they're looking for a bullish flag. They're looking for candles to do this, da, 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 da. And that's when I started like really saying, all right, bro, this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. This guy knows what he's talking about. And then he started showing his terminal live on stream, and I'm like, am I gonna watch this guy make money for real? And then he started growing to 100,000, and then 200,000, and then the account grew to 1 million, and I'm like, all right, this guy's 21 years old, and then he grew an account to $1 million right in front of my face. I don't care what the fuck happens. I gotta listen to this guy. I gotta pay attention.
You gotta be sure. You gotta lead by example, and you gotta surround yourself with successful people, and you can people that as well. It doesn't matter the age. If you lead by example and you show what you're doing and people understand it because it's not something fake and they can understand the struggles that you're going through and they feel it and you feel it as well, people will respect you whatever age you're at. But obviously you have the older generation who'll say, oh no, he's young, he doesn't know anything. Okay, it's possible he might not know much, but maybe in this subject he knows a shit ton, right? So be good at one thing that you're really going to be good at, instead of being a little bit good at 100 different things, because then that makes you whatever. But if you're good at one thing, then people can come to you and talk to you about that one thing, and then that's what makes you really smart at what you're doing. And if that one thing makes you money too, then hell yeah, on top of it. So, yeah. This can break back up right now. Let's see.
What are we doing here, Gold?
Might push or not? I don't know. The hour just closed. I think it created a top wick first or bottom wick first. I'm not sure. Might come back up, but not too sure right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep streaming for a while, dude. Let's see. Yeah, it's fucking cold in here. Let me close my window. It's freezing outside right now. See, like this could be a buy for a wick fill if we would have closed above all these resistances here to the left. Like, but because we didn't close above this one, I can't take the wick fill like that. Just one little. I don't look too far back, because if you start looking back, you're gonna have a million trillion lines. But I look back to like at least here. and then at least here, worst case, to see if these levels align with the current ones. If these levels align with the current ones, then I know these levels are really strong. And if these align with the even more current ones, then I know these levels are even super strong. So let's see. We got the breakout above a little bit. Yeah, we did, but it was kind of weak. Let's see. Let's see if we can close above this most recent one. Yo, I fucking love Amazon. That's wild. These AirPods came in a few hours. So I like to see the correlation, right? Because there's something that Javier was teaching. It was called, and it's about the money flow, right? So you'll start to see where the money's leaving and where it's entering. So I started looking on my, all right, cool. We're at a support here on the DXY. So if we're at a support, we gapped up. There's a chance that we don't fill the support on the same day. We already created a bottom wick for the daily. So is price going to continue up here, bullish on the dollar? If the dollar starts to continue bullish, right, we got to see if we break above this level because we have these resistances here. If we can break above this level and re-break the daily high, then we know there's a high probability that the dollar will continue going up because you respected the low, you're closing above all the most recent resistances, price is likely going to keep driving up. So if the dollar is at a support with the possibility of driving up, then that tells me that wherever gold is at right now could possibly reverse because the dollar is at a decision level right now. So gold could also be trying to make a decision. So if the dollar rejects and starts going up, that means gold should come down. So knowing that we're at this level of resistance, I want to really confirm we're closing above to take the buys. Looking at the dollar index, seeing how the dollar's at support and it could possibly be coming up. So that's something that I would be looking at. But if the dollar comes down, right, and it starts to retest the daily lows, and you fill the fucking gap, and you're continuing to drive down, then gold will probably see a massive spike up, and then we can get an entry. But I like to see the dollar index as well, and then I look at NQ and see what NQ is doing. If everything is dumping at the same time, I want to be wary because the money is flowing into somewhere or the money is about to go somewhere. Something's about to get a fucking influx. So you can look at US 30, S&P 500, you can look at the Nasdaq, you can look to see where out of the major pairs like gold and the indices, where's the money flowing? You can literally see it going from one to the other.
No top wick on the 5 that just opened. Maybe that's a decent bottom wick enough to see if it might come back up again. But the closure was at the previous 5 was closure at was respecting. So maybe this is the bottom wick for it to shoot back up.
Yeah, this is looking clean. We try to grab a bottom wick for this.
Yeah, I think I might get into this trade.
I'm gonna go put my dog in my backyard real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, one thing for sure that I had to stop doing was when I'm looking and I'm seeing a play start to form and I'm looking and something is starting to look clean and I'm like, all right, what's going on here? And then Wick says, yeah, I don't want to take any sells here because this and that. And I'm like, fuck, I was just looking at sells here. And then I'm like, that just ruined my analysis. And then price pops, drives 20 pips, and then reverses. And then he's like, see, this is why I didn't really like sells here. And for him, it made sense because it didn't give him the push that he really was anticipating. But for me, it made perfect sense because it gave me the 20 pip push that I was anticipating. So like whenever I'm like about to like when my analysis is working out and I'm looking at it and I'm like about to get into a trade or something like that, I go on my volume, I mute Wix, and I'm like, all right, I can't listen to nobody right now. My buy stop is about to pop. Once I get out of my trade, I close, I go back on stream, I turn the volume up, and then I'll comment else, or I just gotta push on the buys up. So if so, instead of like or I'll say the analysis, or I waited for the bottom wick to tap this level, and I took a buy up. Um, so like, oh man,
Is
tonight was
anything happening here? I mean, I'm not even sure what's going on.
tonight has just been. Oh, also one thing, if you look at futures, you don't have the data feed for futures. You would have to pay $5 for it. But if you had futures, sometimes during these high volume markets, you could see the push happening on spot gold before it happens on futures. And if you had a futures account, you can just take a sell and then watch the market plummet 30 minutes later following spot gold.
Wow.
Or vice versa. Sometimes it happens the other way. Sometimes the pop happens before on futures than it does on gold, because sometimes there's like a lot of volume that comes into the market, and on gold on futures there's not as much volume as there is, or as much orders as there is on spot gold. So the pop on futures might not be as large as it is, or the pop on futures might be larger than it is on gold, because for gold that much volume creates a larger wick, and then you'll see, oh shit, there was a massive wick on futures and now it's starting to come back down. Maybe that means that it was a large liquidity grab. Maybe gold is going to start coming down on the other end because futures just grabbed a massive liquidity grab and rejected. So that tells you that there's a shit ton of volume in the futures market. So maybe there'll be some in Forex. So when I was figuring out how I wanted to trade futures, I was looking at both. And I still kind of look at both, like just to make sure that the higher time frames are in line. And if there's like a 5 minute support or something that we're running into on spot gold, but we haven't quite reached there on my end, I'll be a little bit more wary and manage risk a little bit more. But if the pushes are into clean range on both ends, that's the best case scenario. Yeah, here's a case where taking the rebreak of the low would have just been massive drawdown. Price broke the low here, didn't drive. Rebroke the low here, didn't drive. Retried to break it, rejected, and then retried again to break it and didn't. So my sell stop after this one failed and I took this pineapple and I got out, I would be, because this pulled back 28 pips. So yeah, that would have been a good pineapple. Either here or when it came down here um, on the second push up, a pineapple. Because sometimes I'll give it a shot, right? If we pull and it was an instant rejection, I might not take an instant pineapple. I might wait and see if the second push is the one that's going to break. If this second push isn't the one that breaks and we reject, my trade idea is the probability goes from like 90% down to like 50-50. So I have to take a pineapple and try to manage risk. So the entry would have been here. That pineapple, this push down is nice. It happened in 1 fucking minute. Push down 18 pips, 17 pips. That would have been a profitable trade. 17 minus 20, what's 23? That's 5 pips. It would have been a 12 pip trade. Come on, gold, do something. I'm gonna stay on for another 30-minute closure. No, my dog doesn't. My dog is just begging right now. So he'll be under my feet and he goes, I'm like, damn, dude, chill.
He wants your attention. He wants your undivided attention, like most dogs want. Unless he wants to go to the washroom.
My cousin left his wallet. So I was calling him and telling him he left it. I thought he was still outside, so I ran out there, but he left. Alright, so this 30-minute is flipping bullish. This hourly is flipping bullish. This 15-minute just closed doji, but barely a bottom wick. On XAU, there is no bottom wick. Let's get that closure. Price is probably going to start driving as soon as midnight hits. We had one opportunity tonight, and I got out break even. Damn, that was a good push too. What's the DXY doing? Looks like we're making our way down to the daily low.
If DXY is pushing down, then gold should be coming back up. I mean, we had three closures, three bullish closures. The last fives have all been bullish. The 15s as well, 30s, so should be pushing. If it pushes up above 74 or 75, it should keep going, hopefully. What do you think?
I'm reading what Wix was saying about the showing your trades on the screen. That's why you should always know this is not financial advice, and this is just watching how your mentor trades and what he actually does, and having access to the signals technically isn't a financial service. It's so that you could see, all right, cool. How is this? What's this guy's strategy like? How is this man trading? And if his analysis aligns with your analysis, then you take the trade based off of your own understanding. And because it aligns with his entry, isn't because he sent the signal, it's because you analyzed it and you understood it and you took the entry because you actually understood what was going on, not because you're blindly taking signals. So that's like the whole point, I think, of being in a signal service, is to get a more deeper understanding of what's going on. And if the analysis is something that you like, you can then accept or deny, and then use your own risk management in accordance to manage the trade that you like, not that is being signaled. Um, that's the whole point of signals. Yeah, you can, if you're from like other countries, there's no rules against like somebody saying, "Oh, I'm a take my signals, copy my trades, and then you'll make money too," or whatever. Like Don setting up the MAM, it's 100% legal in his country. In the States, it's not. So like it all depends on where you're from. Don can easily say, "Follow my MAM and make money," but an American can't say, "Follow my account and copy me and make money." Yeah, I'm waiting another 10 minutes for this closure. If this 30-minute candle, which would be like 11:30 for the Asian market, doesn't do anything, which is pre-London Open, if that doesn't do anything, oh yeah, dang sure. If you're listening, yeah, I'd be watching your trades on and you're fast as fuck, boy. You're fast as fuck. Imagine price, he gets in right now, price jumps 30 pips, he closes, he's like, all right, out for the day. Imagine if you were trying to copy trade that on, you wouldn't be able to. The majority of my trades last around 3 minutes on average. So that means that you got to have enough time to open your terminal, press the buy button, and get the proper entry within those 3 minutes. So that's why following a scalper is a little hard. With market mechanic is a bit simpler. You're If the trade is a winner, it's going to run for at least 50 to 60 pips. At least. So if it's a winner. So even if you get in 10, 20 pips late, you know you still have plenty of room for that runner. I'll bet. Hold on, my cousin's here. Let me go drop off his wallet. See, like, you see how here we're kind of getting the scoop on the 5-minute on the Nasdaq? You could be saying we had a liquidity sweep here. We created support. We're trying to break above this level. We could take some buys here, but just looking at market structure, which is one of the key factors in how you're supposed to trade, what do you have? You have a low, a high, a lower low, and this is the previous support that could possibly be turned into resistance before coming down. The same thing that happened here. This was a resistance that came up, price accepted it as resistance, and now we came down. Price came down below, used this previous support as a resistance, and drove down to these new lows here. So the very same thing could be happening here. We could be respecting this as the new lower high before continuing down. All right, Goldilocks, what are you doing here? Yes, sir.
This wants to push. If it breaks the high, are you looking for something on the 30 or a retracement before getting back in to re-break the high and then going into a buy? Is that still what you're looking for?
Say it again.
I was saying, it looks like it wants to re-break that high here. If on the 30, it retraces, gives you a bottom wick, are you looking for a re-break of the high or not? I just got some profits in the trade because I got in on the previous high. I was just asking, because I'm not too sure if it's ranging right now. I don't think it'll come back down. Because we hit that daily low, that's my opinion. I think the sentiment is most likely bullish. I just wanted to get your feedback on that.
So, it is very possible. So, two things. For me, this 5-minute close with no top wick, and we just closed respecting all of this resistance here. So, now that we I wanted to see what happens here. Are we going to reject this again and come back down to retest this low? But now that we scooped here, we should get that second leg up breaking this high. But we're also 3 minutes from that 30 closure. So taking a buy here is a little risky, but it does look good.
Okay, so my thought process is decent.
Yeah, it does look good. The fact that we're 2 minutes away from closing on this 30 might throw me off, but if you do get that push at the very end, that 30 is going to close with no top wick. You're going to get that final push, creating that top wick on the 30. If it wanted to drive down, it would drive up with no bottom wick. It's still giving you a way out of the trade, right? Somewhere up to here. How many pips do we have here? We have 7 pips.
Right now, if it closes respecting, I mean, it's pretty much done.
Yeah, if it closes no top wick, right? And that means the price is most likely going to drive down the next trade. But first you're going to get that push up to create that top wick and then that drive down, right? So that will get you out of the trade and you might be able to get out of there in profit. So just knowing that, taking this trade could have been possible. Knowing that even if you do close with no top wick, that extra push once the 30 close could still give you an out on the trade before coming down.
Yeah, I closed 10 pips ago because the 5 didn't have a top wick. I closed. And
yeah, so this is a good, this would be a good forward test right now. A little test in the live markets to see what would happen if I didn't wait for that 30 closure.
And we got a minute left to see what we got.
Because if it does pull back now, giving you that 30-minute wick, then we would see more drawdown for that bottom wick before another inevitable rebreak of the high. $53 pips in profit. You're a savage. Hey, you had this entry. Yeah, sometimes emotion plays a part in my analysis as well. Like it's been 3 hours on stream and I got one break even. So like to take a trade that I would normally take, sometimes I might overthink it and end up not taking a trade that could have played out if I would have just stopped being a pussy. But those are some of the things that happen.
Well, the 30 just closed. It has a little bit of a top wick. It opened up upwards first and coming back down. I don't know if it counts as it. It kind of pulls above the resistance there. I don't know if that was just a fake out and it's going to come all the way back down. It's pushing down past now. I don't know if that would be a bottom wick for it or not.
Yeah, the DXY just respected a minor support. And it's pushing up. You can see the DXY and gold are starting to fuck with each other right now. At least that's what I'm seeing. So we just had a closure above like I wanted. I'm afraid of this level.
I'm saying if it goes up, I think potential 30 pips. Or hits that 25 to 30 pips, so it's still a decent range.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
There's minor resistance about 10 pips above here on the 15, so I mean, I don't think that's really that bad. On the 30, I don't see it that much. Could be an interesting buy. Market mechanics says you only really want to look at DXY during monthly levels or use volumes overall daily trend.
I do what I want. I'm just kidding.
I'd be dead. Not sure right now.
I'll give it a shot. Buy stop. 1 pip above. Yeah, it's not necessarily an inverse correlation. So I like to look at them to see what's happening. Like when I was looking at the monthly, the beginning of the month, NQ dropped, bearish, and gold and the dollar are both going up. So when I do what I do is I'll go down to the smaller trends on the 5 minute, and I'll notice a lot of the times if I'm trying to look for a buy on gold and it's just not breaking that level, I'll look at the dollar index, and the dollar is at a support, trying to break out of the support, while gold is trying to break out of a resistance. So you could see the push there, and then I'll see, all right, cool. What's the dollar doing? Did the dollar break the support? Yes, the dollar broke the support. Um, which means gold should break this resistance. It's the inverse correlation if at the moment, and then I will add a little bit more confirmation for my buys. And then if it's something that I notice at the moment, or sometimes you'll see them both going up, and then you'll see the indices going down. Damn, this is probably going to close with no top wick here in 15 seconds. See, if you had Forex and your spreads would have got you in here. So you would have been forced into this trade.
Yeah, that's true. That's why you're gonna put a buy stop or any sell stop or anything like that. You gotta account for the pips. So you gotta
Yeah, I'm gonna delete
add
it.
on 2 or 3 pips.
I'm gonna delete it with that no top wick closure on the 5 minute there. It could still drive up without that. I would need to see a bottom wick first and then a push up. It might not need that. But I'm just gonna use that as an excuse to call the stream here. I've been streaming for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. That's straight. Buy stops could still work, but the more I keep saying could still, the less probability I see in the trade. So I'm gonna wait it out. And I was looking for sells on NQ. I really wanted to catch this clean range down. I mean, look at this. This happened in 5 minutes. 5 minutes we pushed. How many pips is that? 167 pips. That's insane. These are fucking insane movements, and they pivot off one fucking area. If you catch that fucking pivot, or confirm the pivot and catch the scalps pushing up, the best way to get out of the scalps, like even on the 1 minute, there's always a pullback. Like if you were to like not here you would have been fucked. You would have had to take that L if you got caught in a buy anywhere here. But a lot of the times, if you get caught like in a sell, you get a massive pullback here. You get a nice pullback here. Is it driving? Or it's trying to. Keeps trying. See, this wick here would have got you in on Forex as well, but on futures it wouldn't have. If this had a bottom wick, I would have left my buy stop. I'm kind of feeling a little FOMO, wanting to keep it up, but I'm gonna just call it. I'm going to do something. That's probably gonna get me copywritten, but who cares? We're gonna get a little outro song. Have a wonderful night, everybody. It was nice having conversations with you guys. It was nice of Wix 9 to drop in. We had some banger strategy conversation, some good risk management conversation. We really talked a lot about managing risk, and that is the key. A lot of you guys know how to read candles, but a lot of you guys struggle with the managing risk. And from this win streak that I've gone on, my own win streak, all my own trades for almost a month now, like, dude, it's all in the fucking emotions. If you don't let the emotions mess with you, your price action skills do the talking. And you literally see how you're like, wow, how can it be this easy? And it's when you realize how can it be this easy that the emotions can start to get to you again. So you just got to stay stoic, stay strategic, and just follow the plan. Like Market Mechanic says, he's like, I'm so in tune with my system now that I know what to wait for. I know that I'm probably not going to get a trade for the rest of the day or at least a few hours. So I'm going to go do other stuff that I need to do because he's so in tune with his strategy that he knows, hey, for my setup to happen, these levels need to be tapped and it's going to take several hours for that to happen. I'm going to set some alarms and go on about my day. Wait for the alarms to ring, go to the charts and see what market structure is like once we get to these levels. And that's how in tune you have to be, where you could say, "Oh shit, it's 9:30 in the morning. I'm not going to get a trade today." And you're like, "Oh, but you still have 4 more hours in the charts. Cool." My strategy is telling me that this level needs to be tapped before I can take an entry. And we're 400 pips away from that level. So unfortunately, I got to wait for 400 pips, or prices got to drive so fucking bullish that we get a bullish setup somewhere up here. Or if we don't go here or here, I'm not doing anything. I'm going to go work on my house and do shit that I got to do. So that's how in tune you have to be with your strategy. If this candle has no bottom wick and it's not driving without that bottom wick, I don't set my buy stop and I don't get in the trade. It can do whatever it wants, but it didn't give me my bottom wick. I don't set my buy stop. It's not, oh, but the hourly gave me the bottom wick, the 30 gave me the bottom wick, but I'm scalping on the 5-minute and I don't have a 5-minute bottom wick. So then why are you scalping on the 5-minute if you're going to disregard 5-minute levels and 5-minute price action? Stop scalping on the 5-minute and go back to the 30 and the hourly and go back to your higher time frames if you're going to disregard the market structure happening on the lower time frame. It's very important if you're going to be using it to take an entry to pay attention to what it's doing. So you really have to, like, see, look, no bottom wick again, no bottom wick again. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this trade. That one would have activated me because it broke this second high, which would have fully activated me. But being in tune with your trade means that you will call the proper pineapple at the proper time. When you're deep in pineapples and you're like, fuck, I don't think I can handle this. Think back and you're like, oh, when I took this pineapple, I was thinking maybe I shouldn't take this pineapple. Maybe I should wait for the next one. But I said, fuck it, I'm going to take it anyways. And then you look back and you're like, oh, market structure told me not to take a pineapple here, but my emotions said fuck it and I took it anyways. That's why I'm in double the drawdown that I'm really supposed to be in, because my emotions said, I'm gonna take this pineapple anyways. My strategy and logic is telling me no, but my emotions are telling me yes. Like, bro, it's so key, so key that you really need to have books on mindset, books on managing risk and managing your money and learning to be a lot less emotional with things, bro. I used to think that this mindset stuff was bullshit, bro, but at the end of the day, if you have 10% price action skills and 90% risk management and mindset skills, I'm sorry, but you're going to be a much better trader than the majority of people. But yeah, bro, take a page from everybody's book, formulate your own entry type, your own strategy. Like, I used to think mindset was stupid. Like, bro, what the fuck? Don't teach me how to think. I already think I'm the shit. Tell me how to make fucking money. And then you're like, oh, it's not about confidence. Mindset isn't about like self-confidence and arrogance. It's about a shift in the way you perceive things. It's completely different than just having confidence and being like a macho type of guy. That's not even what it's about. And then I realized that my ego and me thinking that I was always good at everything and the best at everything fucked me in trading, and I really had to humble myself and really say, oh shit, I am nothing. I'm trash, and the markets tell me how not to be trash. My brain is trash. The markets tell me how to not be trash. Whenever I let my brain take over, I fuck everything up. When I let my emotional brain take over, I fuck everything over. I fuck everything up. I gotta let the markets do the talking. That's also another thing. True, that's true. Options. Like my boy made $1,000 last week, Macho Man. He took a buy on the breakout of the market open, held for that full thing, full thing. He closed at the tippy top. The next day, the market opened at a support. He took a buy. It plummeted. Now Macho Man is no longer macho, and he's shitting bricks, losing all of his profits from yesterday, saying, I guess I'll just have to swing till next week for it to reverse. And that's why your boy Eddie went break even here and called it. That's why I deleted my entry here. Price action is telling me, hey man, go break even. What happened? Price reversed for like 50 pips. I would have had to stress and draw down on stream, saying, oh shit, am I going to take a loss on stream? You know, taking a pineapple at home, that's nothing. Nobody's watching me. Nobody's watching if I fuck up. But on stream, everybody's watching. And what happened? I closed properly. I avoided drawdown. The pineapple would have worked out. So now I know that my strategy is still 90%. And the only thing stopping me from collecting more pips is the risk management. So sometimes I manage risk a little bit too much. Sometimes I don't manage risk enough. So I'd rather manage risk too much and understand that I was correct in the analysis and then look for how can I hold a little bit longer next time than to cry about it. So now I know that I was right. There was barely any drawdown from my entry. So all I need to do is maybe choose a different break-even spot, or maybe not go break even as early, maybe wait for the actual second pop coming down. I only waited for the first one. So maybe I could have waited for a second pop breaking the lows. So it's just minor things. But knowing my analysis was correct, knowing my entry was banger, the only thing that stopped me from making money was managing risk to break even. So that's an easy fix, easy solution, easy fix. Being wrong and having a shit entry is harder. So the only thing stopping me from making money in my correct analysis was the risk management. And that's it. I hope this dries for you guys if any of you guys are taking it. But I'm gonna call it, bro. I'm tired. We'll go to bed. Maybe eat a snack. I'm gonna play a little outro song. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
This ain't no lie. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Whoa. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. I was down, but now I'm up. This all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. I was down, but now I'm up like my name Lazarus. No Satan gon' be mad at this. I had to ask my dad if it's okay to swing my bat at this. He said, boy, if I picture this out of the park, moving so quick it's like they stuck in park. They see the numbers, but I see the heart. 10,000 hours you spit in the dark, putting in good work, even though you didn't even know that it would work. Talking about a man who grew up in woodwork, do it for the love of it, that's the way it should work. Yeah. I know some people gon' look at me crazy, and I'm like, for what? Man, I was stuck. I was
Down, but now I'm up.
This all God, this ain't no love. Yeah, I used to be stuck in that mud. Yeah, I was down, but now I'm up. I was down, but now I'm down. Now I'm up like a seesaw. When I'm on a beat, like an old man's lawn, better keep off. From the ground to the treetops, got clouds on my feet like Jack in the Beanstalk. Jumped off quick, went straight in a free fall. Cowboy hat and a mic singing.